On the football field, it's the Edmonton Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders. Always a grudge match in the Western Conference, but in recent years, the Eskimos have dominated. On the ice, the Flames and Oilers had their initial meetings this past hockey season and have also started what's bound to be another long-standing tradition. And now it's on to the soccer field, where a third all-Alberta rivalry is about to begin between the Drillers and the Boomers. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, home of the CFL Stampeders and now home of the North American Soccer League Boomers. Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Hahn, and I'll be bringing you the play-by-play of tonight's game. And alongside me is Brian Rice, our expert color commentator. And Brian, a number of interesting aspects about tonight's game, and two in particular. First, the coaches, Timo Liakoski and Al Miller, have both been associated in the past, and that should make for a good rivalry.
Well, it should do from a coaching standpoint, Randy. They know each other very, very well. They go back many years. Al Miller coached Timo during his college days, and he moved on to Dallas, where Timo joined him. They've both been head coach in the NASL, and, you know, they know each other very well, so it should be a very interesting game tactically.
Secondly, Calgary's most recent acquisition, Willie Ryman, also a teammate in the past of Peter Nogley's at Hamburg, and that should be interesting.
Yes, they played together for 7 years in Hamburg, and of course Ryman is an offensive player, plays on the right-hand side of the offensive line. Peter, of course, a defensive player, but they know each other very well because they've played so long together, so I would suspect that they've spoken to their coaches and they've given each other the pluses and the negatives about their play, and again, that should prove very interesting on the actual field.
Okay, Brian, both these teams have had their troubles on the road this past season, but both are coming off victories at home. Last Sunday afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Drew Ferguson scored his first goal of the season, but it was a big one. It came on a rebound of Jan Goosen's shot with just 5 minutes to go in the game as the Drillers earned a 2-1 victory over the Portland Timbers, their 4th straight win at home. And in the meantime, here at McMahon last Sunday, midfielder Jurgen Royber scored in the 79th minute to give the Boomers a 1-0 win over the San Jose Earthquakes, Calgary's first home victory ever. The Boomers currently rank 5th out of 5 in the Northwest Division and trail the Drillers by 17 points. But the consensus is that they're a team on the verge of exploding. Perhaps it'll be tonight. Live from Calgary, the Drillers and the Boomers. We're back at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Edmonton Drillers getting ready to play the Boomers. Look at the starting lineup as we see Herty Elia, the Drillers starting goalkeeper, warming up. And on the Driller defense this evening will be Joe Raduca, John Webb, Peter Nogley, and Bernie James. In the midfield for the Drillers, we have Eddie Kirshner, Drew Ferguson, and Kai Huskavy with Mike Swinney. And up front tonight, forwards Jan Goossens and Albert Goodmanson. And for the Calgary Boomers, there's a look at their goalkeeper, Jurgen Stars, the 32-year-old West German veteran. And he's their starting goalkeeper here in Calgary. On the Boomer defense, we have Kadelia and others on the back line, Vaughn, Kremers, and Stojanovic. And there's a look at the referee in tonight's game, Bob Fusco from Roxborough, Quebec. And he is joined by his linesman, Robert Allen, the senior official, and Rob Brown, the junior linesman. And Brian, I guess the biggest change tonight is Timo Liakoski doing some shuffling around. Albert Goodmanson has assumed the forward position. Eddie Kirshner has dropped back into midfield.
Eddie's had some problems scoring goals, even getting shots on goal. So basically, they put him back in midfield. Hopefully this will help him in getting shots from long range.
And we have a presentation at half field here, at center field rather, Jim Poplinski of the Calgary Flames and Kent Nilsson being presented with an award for their fine performance. The Calgary Flames, of course, going all the way to the semifinals in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. And we're about to get underway here at McMahon Stadium. A good crowd on hand, a lovely evening. The sun's still shining and very nice warm temperatures. The Calgary Boomers will be in this first half moving from the right of your screen to the left. They're in their white tops with dark bottoms, and the Edmonton Drillers in their road uniforms, the blue tops and the white shorts. And we are underway here now. Kai Huskavy at midfield for the Drillers as they start the game here at McMahon Stadium. And, of course, it's artificial surface here in Calgary, and the Drillers are getting used to playing on the artificial turf now. They have to do so in Portland, Vancouver, and Seattle. And, Brian, it's about time they're going to have to start getting used to it because there's no other alternative.
That's right. And most of the teams, or a lot of the teams in the NASL, have the artificial surface. There's only a few of them that have natural grass, so it's a fact of life. You have to learn to play with it.
There's a ball played into the midfield area for the Drillers, and an infraction called against a Calgary player, and it'll be play on for the Edmonton Drillers. That's Peter Nogley with the ball now, and as we mentioned off the top of the show, he is in some familiar company, a number of West Germans on this Calgary Boomer lineup. Getting set for the free kick. Nogley playing a nice ball into the middle, but it's headed out of danger there by Helmut Kremers. And that's Ryman with the ball now. Willie Ryman, the latest acquisition for the Calgary Boomers. And he plays it back, and they decide to work it over onto the left side. And Brian, some big-name players on this Calgary team. I guess it's a matter of them just coming together over a period of time.
Well, they have some good players. The actual content of the team is basically West German. A lot of West German players, a couple of Argentinians, and then, of course, Irish citizen players. It's a difficult team to beat if they're on song, Randy, which means if they're playing well. But they haven't been playing well. They've only won 2 games out of 10, and they're having troubles.
In the midfield area, the Calgary Boomers with the ball. That's number 17, or 19, rather. Christensen going after it. He has it at center field. Plays it over on his wing for Stojsavljevic. Mijan Stojsavljevic dropping it back. Play it back over on the left side for Victor Kadelia. He tries to get by Eddie Kirshner, who makes a nice play to get possession. But the Drillers give it back away to the Calgary Boomers. Number 2 on the back line for the Boomers there, Garrett Zimmerman. He plays a midfield position, but also a very good defensive midfielder, Brian.
He is a very good defensive midfielder. They have a lot of good midfield players, actually. They're probably blessed with a lot of good midfield talents, and I think this is probably the problem that they've had initially in the first part of the season. Is they haven't really had any good goal-scoring players, and they tried to rectify this right now. They're juggling their players around. Zimmerman is playing in centre midfield tonight rather than a sweeper role or a defensive stopper role, which he usually does.
Molina and Royber working the ball back and forth. Royber playing a crossover into the midfield area. A ball up for Ryman. Broken up there nicely, and here come the Drillers. That's John Webb on the left side. He crosses the 35-yard line. Ball into the middle for Jan Goossens. Goossens gets loose. Goossens turning around, trying to get a shot away, but it's easily handled by Jürgen Stars. Good effort by Jan Goossens there, Brian.
No support for him. There's only one other man in the actual penalty area, who was Eddie Kirshner. Jan just turned around and fired a quick shot, and Jürgen Stars was placed well, made a good save.
There's Albert Goodmanson pressed into action tonight. He's coming off an ankle problem. The Boomers get it back. That's Royber, Jürgen Royber, number 8 for the Calgary Boomers. Another newcomer to this team this season. It's back into midfield now, Kremers. Kremers to try and create something. Passes back for Ryman. Good defensive pressure by Mike Sweeney there. The Boomers still have it, though, and it's broken up nicely by Drew Ferguson. He puts a long ball over across the field for Kai Huskavy. Back up for Goodmanson. He's got speed. He can move. He's a little deceptive, too. He leaves it for Goossens. Goossens tries to get around Molina. Decides to go back for Ferguson. Mike Sweeney all the way across field. Intended for Joe Raduca. Headed out of there by Kadelia. The Drillers regain possession. Eddie Kirshner taken down there by number 5, Kremers. And there's an infraction against the Boomers.
A late dive by Eddie Kirshner, but the referee called the infraction regardless. It was a tripping penalty against number 5, Helmut Kremers. Catch it right now. You can see Eddie Kirshner going to his right. Late tackle by Kremers. The ball goes free, and Eddie Kirshner goes down.
Incidentally, Brian, Kremers is coming off a suspension. He was red carded 2 games ago and did not play in the win against San Jose last week, but he has been put back into action here for the Calgary Boomers tonight.
Right, what happens in the NASL, when you do get a red card, what you have to do is you have to miss the next home game rather than an away game. So you missed the actual game against San Jose, which they won 1-0.
Peter Nogley's free kick goes over the line. Live from Calgary, the Drillers and the Boomers. We're back at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. No score between the Edmonton Drillers and the Calgary Boomers. Just about 5 or 6 minutes into the first half here. This is Calgary on the move now. On the far wing, that's number 14, Danny Vaughn, the 24-year-old North American playing defender position for the Boomers, moving up on an overlapping run on that play. Here come the Drillers again. Eddie Kirshner playing a long ball up for Peter Nogley. Nogley making one of his long runs. Here he goes. He's got number 2 working on him, Garrett Zimmerman. The ball goes out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in.
Now, Zimmerman showed some good speed there. Peter Nogley beat him to the ball and hit the ball long across the wing, and then had a few yards on Zimmerman. Zimmerman recovered very well and was able to put the ball away for a throw into Edmonton.
And while we're getting set for the throw-in here, we'd like to remind you that we are playing Score with Safeway again this evening, and this is P. Rickett has from now until the 30-minute mark of this first half to win herself a $50 voucher from Safeway if the Edmonton Drillers can score. Here's Kai Huskabee with the long throw in into the penalty area. A good one, but it's headed out of there by number 6 for the Boomers, Cadelia. Played back out onto the side. Calgary in possession. Cadelia playing it into the central area for Vaughn. A long pass up the wing. The Boomers trying to bring it upfield now. See the long shadows there as the sun is still high in the sky here in Calgary. Albert Goodmanson now. Nice ball in for Huskabee. He finds Kirshner over on that right side. Drillers trying to get something created here. A good try for a ball in to Jan Goossens there, but it was neatly taken away by Vaughn, and it's Jürgen Stars coming up with the ball.
These first 10 minutes are always critical in the game because neither team wants to give up the early goal. You give up the early goal, Randy, and it kind of tends to deflate you, and you have a hard time coming back, and these teams are very adept to putting up a defensive wall, so it can make the game very difficult for you. So right now, they're playing a cautious type of game. They're both coming back in defense en masse and making sure that they maintain, some competitiveness in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Drew Ferguson breaking up the play at midfield. And it goes over to Kai Huskabee. He runs it down before it goes out of touch. Breaking along that left side. Cuts into the middle. Tries to get by 2 players. Huskabee still with the ball. Fighting along the back line. Just saves it, and it goes out of touch. Oh, and the referee says play on. It did not go out. And the Boomers pick it up. There's Molina. He brings it up. Played for Christensen. Back over to Cadelia. Joe Raduca standing opposite him. Playing it into the middle for Molina. Back over to the right side. There's a shot in. A nice ball played in, but Bernie James heads it out of there. Calgary with the ball again. They maintain possession. Here's a chance. Back out to Ryman. Ryman tries to get a shot away. It's blocked. Zimmerman with it now. Calgary pressing. Zimmerman into the box, but it's nicely taken away by Peter Nogley. The Drillers moving upfield now. Mike Sweeney tries to play it back for Huskabee. Hoover gets a foot on it. Kirshner comes up with it for Edmonton. Looking for a mate to pass off to. Nogley one-times it over to Huskabee on that left side. Trying to break into the goal area. A little pushing going on there. And the infraction, I believe, will be called obstruction, Brian.
That was Postavlovich, who simply stood in Huskebee's way as he was going past.
Well, Brian, earlier we talked about the association between Timo Liakoski and Al Miller. They've been associated in the past. We asked Al Miller about coaching against his protege.
Very difficult. Timo's a very good coach. He's a bright young man, and he's done a great job, I think, in Edmonton and Houston before that, and he did a great job for me. I think he's a very special talent. I think he's a gifted coach myself, and I think the players respect him and they work hard for him. And one of the things that you always hear about Timo's teams is that they're a disciplined team, and I think that's a very good compliment for the coach.
Brian, it certainly must be rewarding for Al Miller to see Timo Liakoski doing so well as he has in his first number of years in the NASL.
Well, I would suspect so, because actually he worked under Al Miller for a lot of years. He played under Al Miller, and I imagine that Al Miller, sees some satisfaction in what he's been able to do with the teams he's coached so far in his short coaching career.
The Drillers and Boomers, of course, divisional rivals, both playing in the Northwest Division after the realignment this year. And the record of the Boomers 2-8, Calgary, Edmonton 4-5. The Boomers, however, are 0-5 against their divisional rivals. That certainly hurts. And here's a look at the replay of that place.
Right, you can see right now, it's a loose ball. You can see Peter Nogley coming in. He sticks the left foot out too far, actually. It was he wasn't going for the ball too cleanly there, and the referee called him on a tripping call.
Calgary back with the ball now. A through ball played in for Gerber. No support, though. He looks around, can't get any help, and it goes back to Driller keeper Pertti Elia. The Edmonton Drillers, against their divisional rivals, are 3-2. They've lost 2 to Seattle, and they won once against the Sounders and also beat Vancouver and Portland. All the wins, of course, coming at Commonwealth Stadium. That's Eddie Kirshner with the ball for the Edmonton Drillers now. He's got Goodmanson with them. Kirshner looking for the give and go perhaps there, but Goodmanson hangs on, puts a shot off Molina's foot. It goes back into the midfield area while Calgary regains possession. That's Gerber now. Gerber and Ryman. But the defense scrambled back to break that one up. This time it's Christensen, the Danish player for the Calgary Boomers. Some fancy footwork trying to get a free ball in there to Gerber. And again broken up by the Edmonton Drillers. Albert Goodmanson again at midfield with the ball. Some good action at both ends so far in this first half. Both teams trying to get something created in the other end.
It's interesting to note that Edmonton have changed their tactics really for the first time this season. They seem to be playing en masse a man-on-man situation. They have John Webb. And I'll get the ball as it goes across the touchline, and it's a goal kick for the Calgary Boomers. This North American Soccer League game is coming to you from Calgary. Back in Calgary, no score between the Boomers and the Drillers, and we've played 10 minutes in this first half. That's Drew Ferguson with the ball at the corner of the box. A nice ball in for Goodmanson. He gets the shot. Oh, and it just goes to the side of the net and hits the net.
Well, that was a beautiful all-round play. There was a long 40-yard ball to Drew Ferguson, who brought it over into the right wing and made all kinds of room for himself. He passes the ball back. You can see the ball right now coming back to Goodmanson right here. First time shot off the net, unfortunately. Went behind for a goal kick to Calgary.
And that's what the Drillers want to do, is get Goodmanson loose so he can unload that big shot, because when he winds up, he can really let it go.
He's got a good shot in both feet, actually, but again, he's had problems getting shots on goal.
The Boomers come back now. That's been the best scoring chance of this game so far, that shot by Goodmanson. However, the play has been fairly even thus far. Here's Calgary trying to get a ball into the area for Ryman. A nice scissor kick there into the box. The Pertti Elia lets it go over the back line, and it'll be a goal kick for Elia.
We were saying before, Andy, that basically the Edmonton team have gone into a situation whereby they've got 3 of their back defenders playing a man-on-man situation. John Webb right now is marking Ryman, and Bernie James is looking after Franz Gerber, and Joe Duca is obviously looking after Joachim Christensen, with Peter Nogley being the floating man in the back line.
Molina plays the ball upfield. It's dished off for Christensen. Back for Gerber. He has Molina with him. He one-times it back to Gerber. Nice playing there by the Drillers defenders. Mike Sweeney gets it out of danger over to Huskabee. A ball up the middle for Goodmanson. Very nearly hauled down there, but Goodmanson retains possession, plays a long shot in for Goossens. Goossens keeps it in touch, and it's knocked out of touch by the Calgary player. It'll be corner kick for the Edmonton Drillers, their first opportunity on this play.
That was a good play by young Goossens. He realized that there was no support coming up. He stopped the ball just for the byline, waited for the defender to come over, allowed the defender to get possession of the ball, knowing that it was likely going to go behind for the corner kick.
And the Drillers get set now for the corner kick. There's Mike Sweeney teeing it up. He'll take all the corner kicks from that side. Tom Heinlein would normally take them from the other side. Heinlein out with an injury, twisted his ankle in practice 3 days ago. He could be out for 2 weeks, maybe longer, with pulled ankle ligaments. Sweeney with the corner kick. Nicely played in. And Jurgen Stars comes in to grab it before the Edmonton Drillers get a chance to get a scoring opportunity there. Bernie James streaking in to try and get ahead on it. The Drillers back with the ball, though. This is Goossens again. Huskabee tries to get it through. Cadelia heads it back out of there. Now it's Christensen. And somebody tripped up there. Helmut Kemmers. He's on the receiving end this time.
That was Kramer's being tripped up by Huskabee. We can catch this right now. Kramer's trying to go through the gap here. There's a gap, as you can see. Hits the ball past the 2 players, but Huskabee brings him down. The tripping penalty called.
So the Boomers have the ball again now at midfield. That's Royber. Playing it along the sideline. Cross into the middle for Gerber. Gerber gets a shot away. Oh, a good effort by Gerber, but it goes high over the net.
That wasn't a bad effort at all, Randy. It was a 50-50 ball. Bernie James watching him very closely. Gerber got the foot to the ball first, but skied the ball over the crossbar.
Franz Gerber joined the Boomers just 2 weeks ago. and he is on a 3-year contract here. Many of the Boomer players, the new ones that Al Miller and General Manager Rudy Schiffer have acquired, are on these longer 2- or 3-year contracts. Obviously, they want to get a system developed.
I think what they're trying to do as well is they're trying to strengthen their indoor team, because a lot of the players also are committed to playing in the indoor league.
That's Molina now with the ball. Back to Danny Vaughn. Vaughn, a native of Tacoma, Washington. One of the North Americans on this Boomer team. He falls down. No call on the play. And a call there now against the Driller player. Obstruction called, I believe.
That was Goodmanson call for pushing off.
So it'll be a free kick for Calgary now. They're close in, and this is where the free kicks start to become a little dangerous for the defending team. Cadelia lines up to take this one, or rather that's Kremers. A good free kick for Kremers. Played back into the middle, but it's kicked out of there by Mike Sweeney. A nice free kick and a good head on it there by Gerber.
And that was a beautiful free kick. Actually, it went to Zimmerman, the ball, and somebody left him. They missed their assignment. He was all by himself, headed the ball back, but there was no other offensive player. Centre forward Gerber was out of position and couldn't he couldn't take advantage of that open pass back.
Here's a break for the Drillers. Jan Goossens takes it off the head. Goossens looks. Oh, and he just can't get a pass away, and Starr snatches the ball away from him. Jan Goossens with a great break there.
Well, what that was, Jan Goossens did not want to hit this ball hard. You can see where it's going right to the sidelines here. What he was trying to do, he's trying to just chip the ball ever so lightly over the goalkeeper, because Eddie Kirshner is coming in on the right side by himself. But Jan Goossens simply can lift the ball high enough, and it was an easy save by Jürgen Stars.
A lucky break for the Calgary Boomers as Jan Goossens had a chance to possibly set up Eddie Kirshner. The Drillers come back, though. Mike Sweeney breaking along the wing, tries to get a ball, but it's picked up there by Zimmerman. The Boomers still with it. And that's Kremers coming out of his zone with it now. Up for Gerber. Tries to play it back over for Kremer. Up for Gerber. Gerber being watched by Bernie James. Gerber just outside the box. Plays the cross into the middle. His forwards are there. That's Ryman. Ryman with it. Joe Raduca does a nice job on Ryman. Or rather Christensen. They're still fighting with it in the corner there, and there's Joe Raduca coming up with it for the Edmonton Drillers. Good scrambling around there by the Calgary Boomers. Nothing really dangerous developed out of it, but some good ball control by Christensen. There's a long sideline pass for Albert Goodmanson that goes out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in for the Calgary Boomers. The ball chipped up into midfield for Molina. Cross on that left side for Ryman. Ryman in for Gerber. He was pushed there by Joe Raduca, it looked like. He's asking for a call, but the referee says no, and they continue to play on. Gerber didn't like that one.
Well, that was Bernie James and Gerber just actually smacked into each other, and Gerber thought that he should have been called for an unfair charging penalty, but it was not called by the referee. He allowed play to go on.
Here come the Drillers again. That's Huscovy. John Webb to the left of him. Huscovy plays it in the middle for Jan Goossens. Goossens gets a shot. He scored!
He's ever so dangerous in that penalty area. He really is. He can score goals from nothing. His great forte is you give him that ball in the 18-yard penalty area, and if he gets an opening, he'll put that ball away for you. That was just a brilliantly taken goal by Jan Goossens. He had a great game last year.
And for Jan Goossens, his 5th goal of the season. Here's the replay.
Well, we can catch it right now. You can see there's nothing on for him right now. The man's charging him off the ball. He just simply turns around, right-footed shot, right into the top roof of the net. It was just a beautifully well-taken goal.
And what a break for the Edmonton Drillers here as they jump on top 1-0 on that goal by Jan Goossens, his 5th of the season. And that moves them into the lead, and the Edmonton Drillers scoring with 13 points, 5 goals and 3 assists. And we have a score with Safeway winner. Mrs. Ken Anderson of Edmonton wins a $50 gift certificate from the good folks at Safeway. The Drillers coming back out of their zone now. That's Mike Sweeney. Into midfield. Plays it up for Goossens. Little trouble with the artificial surface there in snaring that ball, but he gets it over to Huscovy. The Drillers slow it down a bit now, but Peter Nogley picks up the pace. Crosses over the 35-yard line. Nogley on the run. Being watched by Kremers. Nogley still with the ball, and it's finally knocked out, but it'll be a corner kick for the Edmonton Drillers. And it'll be Mike Sweeney taking it again. Kai Huskabee gets the assist on Jan Goosen's goal. It came at 20:15 of this first half. Goosen's from Huskabee give the Edmonton Drillers a 1-0 lead. A little breeze blowing here in Calgary, but just nice to make it cool off. There's the corner kick, and Jurgen Stars gets up to snare that one away. The Boomers come back now. Gerber with the ball. He has Ryman up front. There's the pass to Ryman. John Webb doing some nice running to catch up to Ryman. It finally goes out of touch, and it'll be goal kick for Perry Elia. A good sprint there by Webb. This is your Lethbridge Brewery telecast. We're back at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Edmonton Drillers with a 1-0 lead over the Boomers as Peter Nogley tees the ball up, getting ready for a corner kick, or a free kick rather, for the Drillers. There's the ball played in for Goodmanson. A try by Kirshner to get loose. Kirshner with the ball, but he's knocked off it, and the Boomers play it out, but it goes right to Drew Ferguson. He tries to get it in for Kirshner, gets a head on it for Goossens. Oh, and it looks like number 5, Kremers, may have taken a kick high in the chest, perhaps, Brian.
Well, what had happened there is Goossens would not have seen Kremers behind him, and the ball was coming off a header by Eddie Kirshner, and he just swung around with his foot. We can see that right now. Goossens did not see him coming in. He swung with the ball, and he caught Kremers right in the chest. What happened then is Zimmerman lost his cool a little bit and started getting hold of Jan Goossens to give him a talking to.
There's a look at Helmut Kremers. Alan Miller signed him to a 3-year contract as well. Miller wanted to get him when he was back in Dallas, Miller as a coach, but things didn't materialize. He finally got him here in Calgary with the Boomers. There's Mike Sweeney making some moves to get into the area. Sweeney plays it in for Goodmanson. Oh, and he lets go that shot, and it goes off Zimmerman. Goodmanson with the ball again, doing some nice controlling there to get it back to Ferguson. Ferguson plays it back in for Albert Goodmanson. He didn't read that play, though, and Molina gets it upfield for Ryman. The Drillers showing some good control here, and Calgary really haven't been able to penetrate at all in the last couple of minutes.
No, they haven't. Edmonton has kind of taken over the control of the game. They're coming forward a lot better. They're getting some support up front right now. And as I say, that the midfield is controlling the game for them, and Calgary aren't a factor in this game right now.
And Brian, we're seeing a little different strategy than we saw in the game against the Seattle Sounders, where the Edmonton Drillers tried to come out and just play for a result. They seem to be a lot more aggressive tonight.
Well, they're playing aggressive, plus, of course, in defense, they're playing this man-on-man situation, and right now it seems to be working.
All right, Calgary come back now. There's the ball in for Gerber. Too far, though. The pass by Danny Vaughn. It goes over the back line, and it's a goal kick for Perty Elia. Live from McMahon Stadium, this is Edmonton Drillers Soccer. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Boomers are trying to get something established to tie this game up. The Drillers have a 1-0 lead thanks to Jan Goosen's goal at 20:15 of this first half. And the Drillers have control of the ball again at midfield. Goodmanson playing a shot up for Goosen's. And the Drillers with control of it again. And in the last couple of minutes, and since that goal, they have pretty well controlled this game entirely. Kai Huskabee leaving it for Goossens on the sideline. They're content to just wait for something to develop in the middle. Huskabee tries to play a shot, and it bounces off Danny Vaughn and into the midfield area. Bernie James goes up to get control of the ball. Drew Ferguson crossing it over on that left side for Huskabee. Huskabee in a midfield role tonight, and he got an assist on the first goal, so obviously that's working. There's Huskabee with the ball now, tries to get a shot away, but it's blocked by Vaughn. Back for Mike Sweeney. He'll play it over on that right side for Eddie Kirshner. It just goes past Kirshner's foot and out of touch.
Well, the ball was a nice ball. Eddie Kirshner just simply wasn't ready for it. He thought the man was going to intercept. The man didn't, and by the time that Eddie reacted to the play, it was behind for a throw into the Calgary team.
As we mentioned, Eddie Kirshner playing in a midfield role tonight. Timo Liakoski doing some lineup shuffling, moving Albert Goodmanson up to the forward position. And Goodmanson's had a couple of good opportunities so far. He had one chance to let that shot go, but it went wide of the net, and it's still 1-0. The Boomers now with the ball. That's Helmut Kremers. Into the middle area. It's knocked down by Zimmerman. Plays it badly, and it's Huskabee playing a long ball up for Goossens. Goossens runs it down. Goossens with the ball. He shoots. Stars makes the save. Oh, what an opportunity for Jan Goossens, but a good save by Stars.
Should have been number 2. It was a terrible mistake by Danny Vaughan, the defender. tried to go wide with it, but it wasn't successful. Here we can see it right now where Goosen has already taken the ball off Danny Vaughan. He tries to go wide of the goalkeeper. It was just a lucky leg save by Jürgen Stars, and it was managed to be cleared by the Calgary team.
No question, the Drillers controlling at this point in the game. They are getting all the scoring opportunities. There's a try in for Molina. It goes off the back of his foot. Mike Sweeney plays it back off for Huskabee now. Drew Ferguson winding up for a long run around that left sideline. Ferguson still running. Huskabee decides to stop. Plays it back over. Molina heads it down, and Zimmerman has it. Drew Ferguson may be able to run this down. No, he just decides to let it go over the touchline, and it'll be a throw-in for the Edmonton Drillers. Drew Ferguson, as we mentioned on the outset of the program, scored the winning goal against Portland on Sunday at Commonwealth Stadium, his first goal of the season, but certainly a big one, and it kept that winning streak at home alive. And now, Brian, the Drillers have an opportunity to maybe break that long 5-game losing streak on the road.
Well, I know they'd love to. They've got several games at home in their next series of games. Most of them are at home, so they've got to try and put a sequence of wins together, and I would think that what they would like to do is start it off right here.
The Drillers are fortunate at this point, at least, in that they have a number of games in hand on the divisional contenders. The Vancouver Whitecaps played 11 games, wherein the Drillers are playing in their 10th, so the Drillers have 2 games in hand on the divisional leaders, and the Drillers have 3 games in hand on Seattle, and the Drillers got a good break on the weekend with Seattle losing to the Minnesota Kicks. So the Drillers still certainly have a good chance to get right back in the thick of it. They play a number of their games at home in the next little while, and with some victories, they would be back in the hunt. Here comes Calgary now, a cross played in. And it goes off the back line, over touch, and it'll be Pertialaya with the ball. A look at Timo Liakoski on the sideline. He and Dusty Hoffman planning some tactics. And to the right of Liakoski, you see Todd Snyder, the Drillers' very confident trainer. He's been a busy man lately. As we mentioned earlier, Klaus Heinlein out with ankle ligament problems. Andre Oostrom also out of the lineup with a hamstring pull. He could be back for the game against Los Angeles at Commonwealth Stadium next Friday. Dwight Lodovegas also out with an ankle. He could be back for the San Diego game on Sunday at Commonwealth. Huskabee tries to break in there, but it's cleared back to Jürgen Stars by Kremers, and it's goal kick for the Calgary Boomers.
Another point that we should mention in this particular half of play, the fans, the viewing audience should notice that Jürgen Stars, the goalkeeper, is facing a setting sun right now. So on any high balls or shots that are taken at him from long range, if they're up in the air, he's going to have problems seeing them. He can lose sight of them. By the time the game turns around, I would think the sun's going to be low. It shouldn't bother Elia at all.
Good point, Brian. This is Molina now coming into the area. Tries to get a ball in for his forward. It's been broken up by John Webb. The Drillers come back out now. That's Goodmanson with it. Looking for Kirshner upfield. Decides to run with it for a while. He's got Joe Raduca on his right. Plays it back in for Kirshner. Kirshner dishes off to Webb. Webb crosses the line. Stops. Back in for Kirshner. Kirshner tries to run with it. Broken up. Gets up to Gerber. Gerber with Christensen along his wing didn't play that ball properly. Christensen had to stop to get up with it. A nice ball through the legs of Peter Nogley, but it's broken up by the Drillers. Bernie James plays it up for Kai Huskabee. Not often you see the ball put through Peter Nogley's legs, Brian.
That's what they call the old nutmeg play, the ball through the legs.
It's even worse when the player calls it before he does it. We'll have to ask Peter after the game.
We'll get him back to that, don't worry.
Molina intercepts a pass for the Boomers. Plays it up for Gerd Zimmerman. Victor Cadelia. Cadelia, quite a story. He was a plumber last year, and the Calgary Boomers tucked him back into playing indoor, and he was very effective there, and now he's back outdoors for the Calgary Boomers, and certainly not plumbing anymore. Ball up for Eddie Kirshner. He bumps off the defender. Kirshner's knocked down by Molina, and Kirshner's going to get the call.
That's Jan Goosens, I believe, who's down. Catch it right now. Here's the ball coming. It's Jan Goosens on the plate. There's Molina. You can just see him kicking wild there, and he caught Jan Goosens.
And Jan Goosens back on his feet. This is Driller Soccer live on CFRN. At McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Edmonton Drillers have a 1-0 lead over the Boomers. And the ball playing back to Peter Nogley. And Bernie James decides to put it up along the wing for Webb. Webb has some room to run. Calgary defense backing up. Goodmanson does a little crisscross there. He was expecting the pass behind him, but Webb put it in front of him. A little mix-up in communications there.
Just a mix-up as John Webb was releasing that ball. Albert Goodmanson was coming the opposite way, and it went behind for a throw into Calgary.
Brian, I think a very special day for somebody in your immediate family, a birthday boy.
That's right. My son Justin's 10 years old, and I'd like to take this chance to wish him a very happy birthday. See him tomorrow.
We all wish him a happy birthday, too. Back in midfield now, the Calgary Boomers. There's a shot. Perdialaya takes a stab at it. Luckily, it goes over the net, and that was a shot.
Well, that was 30 yards away, and that was by Gerd Zimmerman. We can catch it right now. You can see him coming up here, and he's fully 30 yards out there. He just let that ball go, and that was not far off the mark. You can just see it just creasing the top crossbar there.
They don't call him Thunderfoot for nothing. That was a tremendous shot from Gerd Zimmerman. He, of course, played with the Dallas Tornado last year. He became available to the Calgary Boomers in the dispersal draft, and now is playing a big part here for Alan Miller. The ball played back into the midfield area. Kramer's with it. Kramer's trying to work a little give and go. This is Vaughn rushing upfield. Vaughn drops it back into the middle. Plays it too far for Molina. Some scrambling going around in midfield there. Mike Sweeney called on that play for a little bit of pushing.
That's Mike throwing his weight around again. Mike Sweeney, the little Edmonton player. Very physical player, small in stature, but just a giant in heart.
Mrs. Lil Luchuk of Edmonton is our Score with Safeway contestant from now until the end of this first half. And if the Edmonton Drillers can score, she will get a $50 gift certificate from Safeway. And the address to write in to the Score with Safeway contest, box 3333, Station E in Edmonton. And we welcome your entries. Postal code T5P4C2. Off the free kick, Calgary retained possession in the Edmonton half of the zone. A ball played over for Molina. Duca tries to break it up, but Calgary keep possession. Christensen playing it in for Zimmerman. Zimmerman looked like he was going to wind up with another shot. Gerber does some nice maneuvering to get possession of the ball. He plays it out, but there's nobody there. Gerber really showing some effort running that ball down. He takes a vicious slide along that artificial surface, and the Boomers have the ball back. Gerber showing some good speed there, Brian, to try and get the ball back.
It was a foot race with Joe Duca, and Joe Duca got there first and was able to release the ball to one of his midfield players.
This is Kremers playing the ball into the area. Looked like Eddie Kirshner got a head on it there to get it out of danger. An infraction called. And that'll be a free kick for the Calgary Boomers just outside the penalty area. Very fortunate that it was outside.
It was outside, and it was an infraction as well. Basically, what had happened is Gerber was trying to break free, and I believe it was Drew Ferguson had hold of him by the right arm. The referee saw what was going on and blew the whistle right away.
So the Boomers get set now for a free kick, just about a foot off that penalty line. There's the set play. There's the shot. Perdialaya makes a save along the ground, and it's back out onto the wing. Not too difficult to save for Perdialaya on that one. The Drillers were able to scramble things up a little bit there.
It was labeled for the corner, so it had to be quick because those shots, it was a low shot, Randy. Perdialaya's a big goalkeeper, so he's got to get down there quickly, so it was a good save by him, actually.
That's Mijan Stojslavovich on the ground there at the sideline. He and Eddie Kirshner had quite a collision in midair, and Eddie Kirshner is certainly not a small fellow at 6'2" and 185 pounds. Here it is, Brian.
Right. Catch it right now. Both going for the ball. Stojslavovich just gets rid of it, and as he does so, Eddie Kirshner comes into him full force.
With 7.5 minutes left to go, the score is Edmonton 1, Calgary nothing.
Save money on your next...
A look at Mijan Stojslavovich, and he is back up and on his feet and back in the play. No serious damage after that collision with Eddie Kirshner. 1-0 to score, the Drillers leading. This is Albert Goodmanson with the ball now. Plays it in for Eddie Kirshner, a little bit too far, broken up by Zimmerman. Calgary would dearly like to even this up before the end of the first half. Just over 7 minutes to go here in the first 45 minutes of play. Zimmerman with the ball again, plays a nice ball in for Gerber. Gerber fighting the ball a bit. Finally, Peter Nogley comes in to kick it back to Perdialaya.
What beat Gerber there? John Webb had him marked closely, but what beat him as well was the actual bounce of the ball here. We can catch it right now. You can see Zimmerman breaking through, takes the return ball from Christensen, just chips it nice. There's Gerber going through. John Webb comes over, But you can see where the ball just bounces away from him. He can't recover in time. Peter Nobley plays the ball back to Perty Elia. Edmonton clear the ball.
And Brian, it would appear that Jürgen Räuber has been booked on that play. Number 8 for the Calgary Boomers receives a yellow card from the referee, Mr. Fusco, and that's the first yellow card infraction of this game here tonight. We'd like to remind you that you could be a winner of a trip for 2 to Japan via Japan Airlines or a dinner for 2. Mail your entry to CFRN, and during every televised game, 4 dinners for 2 will be given away. And during our last televised game, 1 name will be drawn for a trip for 2 to Japan. And our 2 dinner winners in this first half, Mr. Albert Monica of Edmonton and Lorelei Norton. Mr. Monica gets dinner for 2 at the Mayfield Inn, and Mr. Norton dinner for 2 at David's Crossbow. Another infraction on the field there, Brian, another yellow card.
Gaspar Stavlovich, who's been shown a yellow card, and that was for basically, it was just a blatant kicking charge against Jan Goossens. Simply went over the ball, was never playing the ball, so he was shown a yellow card also.
Now the Boomers have to be getting a little bit frustrated here now. They've had a couple of good opportunities in the last couple of minutes and haven't been able to capitalize.
Well, you can say that what they're doing basically is the game is kind of tending to become very niggly. There's some cheap fouls being done by the Calgary team, and there was no need for that, really. The goal was never in danger. Goossen was out wide on the play, and really, there's no need for that kind of a foul at all.
Goossen's slowly struggling to his feet there. Todd Snyder assisting. Seems to be limping a little bit on that right leg. But he'll be all right and continue playing. That's the second yellow card infraction we've seen, the second caution in the past couple of minutes.
Right, we had a caution given to Räuber at 37:59 of the game, and then very shortly thereafter, at 38:45, a caution to Stavlovich.
That's easy for you to say, Brian. The Drillers with the ball. A ball in for Peter Nobley. Joe Raduca has it. Back for Nobley. He's being watched by 2 Boomer players. Gets away from Molina. Nice play by Nobley to get it past Molina, but it's broken up there. Gerd Zimmerman with the ball now. He plays it upfield. Taken away by Goodmanson. Goodmanson trips over the ball. Molina plays it in for Gerber. Broken up nicely by John Webb. Back for Kirshner. Raduca plays a sky-high ball in for Goossens. That is brought down by the Calgary Boomers' Danny Vaughn. 5.5 minutes left to go here in the first half, with the Edmonton Drillers leading 1-0 on Jan Goossens' goal in the 20th minute. Kai Huskeby drawing the assist. And for Jan Goossens, that was his 5th goal of the season, moving him into the scoring race in the Edmonton Drillers' scoring lead. Fidelia with the ball into midfield for Molina. Some room for Molina. Huskeby can't break that up, but it is broken up there nicely by Nobley. Huskeby brings it back out. Drillers still with it. They're getting good support back into the midfield and further into the defense area.
And they're playing well defensively. They're standing up at the 18-yard line, and really Calgary right now are unable to penetrate. They haven't really caused Perty Elia any problems at all in this first 45 minutes of play.
It's a situation where they're getting good defensive effort, and they're also showing some good offensive punch, and something we haven't seen on the road really from the Drillers this season yet. Here's Sweeney. Back in for Sweeney. Oh, he just can't control it. It goes through his legs. In for Ed Kirshner. But it's kicked over Jurgen Stars. He gets a handle on it and dishes it off to Danny Vaughn. Here come the Boomers at midfield. That's Zimmerman playing it up for Christensen. Back to Zimmerman in the midfield. Zimmerman with it again. He may be winding up. There's the shot. Goes over the back line. And it'll be goal kick for Perty Elia. But boy, you just start getting shivers down your back when he winds up for that big shot.
What they want to do is just keep a man on the left side of him there. That way they don't give him a clear shot on goal. In that case, as you could see, he was looking for the open area. Didn't quite hit the ball well, and he went behind for a goal kick.
Calgary with it again now as Fidelia controls. Kramer's working against Goodmanson. A through ball in for Gerber. Kremers comes back, and there's enough. Nice pass in. Oh, it's off the crossbar. What a chance for the Calgary Boomers. Off the crossbar. Another shot there by Ryman. But, oh, what an opportunity for Calgary. A missed one there by number 8, Räuber.
It's a gorgeous play. It was a beautiful ball here. Catch it right now. Kramer's just passes the ball. He's all by himself. Rather than head the ball, he catches it on a full volley. Petey Elia never saw the ball whatsoever. Hit the crossbar, bounces back out, and eventually it's cleared. Goes behind, goal kick to Edmonton.
What a shot by Royber, just as you say, Brian, taking it off the full volley and depositing it towards the net, just off that top crossbar. And the Edmonton Drillers remarkably maintain their lead. Peter Nobley with a little mix-up there as he was working against Gerber. The crowd gets a charge out of that as Calgary gets a throw in. That's Christensen. Back for Kremer. Cross into the middle. Perdy Elia is there, however, and snatches onto the ball with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half, with the Drillers leading 1-0. That was really one of the Boomers' best scoring chances. The other I can recall was Zimmerman's hard shot that just went high.
That's right. That's probably the only two that they've had besides that free kick that Perdy Elia saved very well. So they've had some chances, but really Edmonton, I think, have dominated this first 45 minutes of play.
Calgary with the worst goals for in the entire North American Soccer League. They have just 7 goals going into this, their 11th game. The Drillers are 15th overall in that department. They now have 15 goals, and those New York Cosmos are leading everybody. They have 34 goals already this season. Here come the Drillers again. Bernie James breaks away from Kremers. Muscovy tries to get a little going. He gets kicked in the ankle there. Calgary come back. Drew Ferguson stops that, but it was a handball, and it'll be a free kick for the Boomers at midfield. Look at Royber again. He got a yellow card infraction about 5 or 6 minutes ago, and then just rattled that shot off the crossbar that very nearly evened it up here for the Calgary Boomers. This is Molina passing off to number 6 for the Boomers, Cadelia. There's a dangerous ball into the area. He was looking for Ryman or perhaps Gerber, but it goes out of touch, and the goal kick Perdy Elia.
Calgary has started to come back into the game a little bit more in the last 5 or 10 minutes. They just rattled that one shot of crossbar, and they've had a couple of penetrating runs, but again, nothing of any significance.
The lights have come on here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The shadows getting longer and longer, and nightfall about to set in here in southern Alberta. That's Bernie James heading it over to John Webb out of danger. Ferguson plays a through ball in for Goodmanson. He tries to chip it over along the flank for Kai Huskabee. However, he wasn't running up for it, and Calgary get it back. Here's Christensen. Makes a nice play to get the ball. Christensen with it. Dishing off to, there's a shot by number 17, Ryman, and it just goes wide of the post. A nice ball in.
Again, it was a lovely play. It was a long ball initially from Royber to Christensen. Christensen gets the ball. You can see him right now breaking down the middle, lays the ball off lovely to Ryman there. Ryman just turns it down very quickly, not unlike Jan Goosen's goal. A quick turn, a quick first-time shot, and just put the ball wide.
And Calgary really putting on the pressure here in the latter stages of this first half. However, the Edmonton Driller defense have prevailed. It's cleared up into midfield for Goosens. Takes it off his head. Goosens takes it off his shoulder and streaks down that right side. Now there's a call by the official there, and he's calling a handball, and it was rather a delayed call, almost as if the crowd made that one.
Well, that amazes me because the crowd did make that one. The referee was in no position whatsoever to even see that call. He did not flag it initially, or did not blow it initially. The linesman didn't flag it. He let the play go on, and then about 15 seconds later, he decides to call it back.
And that's the first half, Brian, and a good first half for the Edmonton Drillers. Calgary came on in the latter stages, but that initial lead is very important.
I think it was a good 45 minutes. It was an enjoyable game, actually. It kind of swung backwards and forwards. In the middle part of the actual first half, the Drillers took control. The last 5 or 10 minutes, Calgary came back more into the game, but I think Edmonton right now have got a deserved 1-0 lead.
Okay, so the score at the end of the first half, Edmonton 1, the Calgary Boomers no score. Kai, you were player of the game against Portland on Sunday, the Drillers' 4th straight victory at home. What did you do differently to try and get your game to come around?
Well, I think we talked with Timo before the game, and we just decided that I was waiting too much things to happen, and what I did a little bit different was that I played a little bit more selfish, tried to take a charge, and that way get more involved to the game.
How do you compare the things you have to do outdoors to indoors? You were a star indoors, and how do you try and repeat that outside?
Well, it's a totally different ball game, and it's a situation that it takes a long time coming from an indoor season. There's a lot of things fitness-wise, and you know, you're playing a bigger arena, and especially I think for a midfield, it's probably a little bit bigger adjustment than for for a defender. You play pretty much the same role. You know, you mark the guy and then go from there. But midfield now, you're instead of you know, just playing up front, you sort of have to be all over the field and stuff like that. So it's totally different thing, and I think it takes. I've had like the last 3 seasons a little bit slower start every year because of the indoor. So it's nothing new for myself, and I just hope I can keep the things going like last Sunday.
Finally, Kai, this team won its indoor championship in its first year. Obviously, outdoors, it's a different kind of story. But based on the program that the Drillers have going right now, do you think they have a shot at challenging for an outdoor championship in the near future?
I would think so, because if we can keep the same team together, what seems to be probably the biggest difficulty for most of the teams in the league, and we really don't have any of those big stars. But then again, I think, you know, there are the teams that play together usually come up with the championships, and we get a lot of good young talent, and I would say that we have a good shot in the near future getting to some of these big games.
My thanks to Kai Huskavy. Driller Soccer continues in just a moment. We are back live at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Edmonton Drillers have a 1-0 lead over the Calgary Boomers on a goal by Jan Goossens. And I'm sure most soccer people will agree that the Northwest Division of the NASL has to be the toughest in the league, but nobody ever said it would be consistent. The Seattle Sounders beat Edmonton 7-0. Now they've lost 2 in a row. Vancouver beat Portland the other night. John McKeechee has highlights.
David Thomas with Alan Taylor running to the far post. Thomas gets the cross or the shot. I'm not sure which. Either way, it just goes wide. Then the opening goal, Valentine to Lenarduzzi. The cross, perfect timing by Alan Taylor. His 3rd goal in 2 games. In 44 minutes was the time. It's a 1-0 Whitecaps lead as they take that 1 minute away from halftime. That proved to be the winning goal, obviously. Paul Nelson starts maybe the best play of the night, getting through the defense to Valentine, to Jerry Gray on the left, then over to Beardsley, and watch this shot. Inside of his foot, McCray was just stuck, frozen right in his boots. And that made it 2-0 at the 57th minute. That was all the scoring. And then the toughest save of the night for Barry Siddall followed this play. Off the throw-in, it's John Pratt who gets the shot away after the ball has been cleared. But Siddall is there to knock it over the net for a corner kick, only 1 of 3 Portland had.
Well, it's obvious that the Northwestern Division title race is going to be a tough one. The Edmonton Drillers now have a couple of games in hand on Vancouver in particular, and if they can get a winning streak going, they will find themselves back in the hunt very shortly. We have halftime highlights coming up, live from Calgary. Drillers Soccer. Randy Hahn along with Brian Rice back live here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Edmonton Drillers have a 1-0 lead. And Brian, some good scoring opportunities for both clubs. Calgary came on late in that first half, but Edmonton capitalizing.
Oh, they did. They dominated the actual basic part of the first half of play. They scored that 1 goal by Jan Goossens. It was a lovely goal, actually. It came to nothing. The ball was just fed to him in the actual penalty area by Huskavy. You can see the play right now. Huskavy's got the ball. He's just looking for someone to put the ball to. Lays the ball back to Jan Goossens. Now you can see there's nothing there for Jan Goossens at all. Just turns quickly, lets it go with the right foot, and hits the top roof of the net. It was just a beautiful goal. A typical Jan Goossens goal. He makes them out of nothing, Randy, and he just does a good job in that penalty area. That was Denny Vaughn. He spun around off there, number 14 for the Calgary Boomers, and Vaughn made a miscue a little later that almost cost the Calgary Boomers another goal, and again by Goossens. That's right. He had the ball in his own penalty area. You can see that he's trying to walk away with the ball. Jan Goossens steals the ball off. Here he is right now. Denny Vaughn's all by himself. Decides to go wide with the ball, away from the goalkeeper. Jan Goossens steps in very easily, takes the ball away from him. Now Goossens should have scored here. You can see him walking forward. Jürgen Stars comes out. He's got no other choice but to come out right now and just throws his body lengthwise just to try and cut down the chance for Goossens. If Jan Goossens had lifted that ball a little bit more higher, it would have been in the back of the net. But as it was just a lucky leg save by Jürgen Stars. Royber had a good opportunity as well for the Calgary Boomers, putting a shot off the crossbar, but luckily for Pertti Elia, it did go off the crossbar, and Hy Zimmerman also with a good opportunity. The Calgary Boomers just haven't had the breaks. Well, that Royber actual shot was it was unfortunate, because you could see initially, I think, what he planned on doing was heading that ball. But then what happened is he realized it was coming in too low for him. He quickly adjusted and made a quick full-time shot in the volley with the right foot, hit the crossbar, beat Elia cleanly. Okay, Brian, and we'll check the first half stats now. And a look as the Edmonton Drillers and Calgary Boomers both with 5 shots.
1 save to 3 in favor of the Calgary Boomers. 2 corner kicks for Edmonton, 10 fouls apiece, and of course the 1 goal by Jan Goossens, and that came at 20:15 of the first half. And Brian, the Edmonton Drillers in a pretty good position now to maybe grab their first win on the road.
I think so. They played well defensively. There have been a couple of miscues, but nothing that glaring. Elia has not yet been tested that seriously. That one shot that did beat him convincingly. But if they maintain the same control in the game as they had during the main bulk of that first 45 minutes, they should come away with a victory. Their first away victory of the season.
Okay, and we have our next telecast coming up on CFRN. From Anaheim in California, Friday, June the 19th, the Drillers visiting the California Surf, and we will be there live, hopefully in the sunshine, to bring you all the live action. And there you see the Calgary Boomers strolling back onto the field here at McMahon Stadium as we get ready for play in the second half. The Drillers' next game will be this coming Sunday afternoon. That'll be at Commonwealth Stadium against the San Diego Sockers. They will play the Sockers, who are winners. On Wednesday, they beat Fort Lauderdale 2-0. Brian, one good chance for the Calgary Boomers. We talked about a shot that went off the crossbar.
Right, that was the Roybar shot, actually. And it was a good play all round. It was a ball that was fed across field initially to, I believe it was Kramers. Kramers gets the ball. Here's the play right now. Kramers picks the ball up. You can see Roybar at the top of your screen there, running into the open space. Found the space level. You can see initially he was going to head the ball and then changed his mind. Caught the ball with the right foot in the volley. Hit it awfully well. Hit the crossbar from behind Pertolaya. Bounces back, and the Edmonton team managed to clear it away.
I wonder if it would be outrageous to suggest that Royber maybe was looking like he was going to head it on purpose to perhaps fool Pertolaya.
I don't think so, Randy. No, we haven't got time to think that fast.
Okay, I'll take your word for it, Brian. Jurgen doesn't speak that much English, so we're just going to have to take your word for it. And there's a look at Jurgen Royber, number 8, Hans-Jurgen Royber. And he, at one time, was a $500,000 player over in Europe, involved in a $500,000 transfer fee. And it seems, Brian, these West German players aren't quite as expensive as some of the players, first division players coming out of England, say.
Well, I think that's a fallacy, to be honest with you, Randy. I mean, you know, the transfer market in England, it has escalated to the point of being ridiculous. I mean, there's no question about it. But, you know, that's in regards to your very top-class players. These German players that we're talking about right now, I mean, these are not your top-class German players. You know, and they're still paying $500,000 for them. So, I mean, if you're going to bring over somebody like Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, you're not going to get Karl-Heinz Rummenigge over here for $500,000. I mean, there's no way. Barcelona have just offered, I believe, $5 million for Rummenigge. Plus, they want to give back to the German club that he plays for another player that they paid $2 million for last year.
Okay, back to the live action now. Infraction called against Bernie James, and again, the Calgary Boomers will have a free kick right in front of Pertolaya, just outside that goal area. Dangerous territory for anybody to take a free kick, and Bernie James caught on the play there. Calgary teeing it up now as the Drillers form their defensive alignment. Ryman looking on the Drillers' behalf there. There's Royber standing over the ball. The last free kick we saw, Brian, a little bit of shifting by the Boomers, a little bit of a set play. Let's see what they do here. There's the kick by Molina. Looked like one player got a head on it and went out of touch, and it looks like it's going to be a corner kick. It was ahead of a Driller player.
That was Molina. What he was doing there, Andy, he was simply attempting a soft shot into the left-hand corner as he was looking at the actual goal, or Pertolaya's right-hand corner from the saving standpoint.
Here's the corner kick now. Woody Ryman plays it near post. There's a kick. Zimmerman gets a foot on it. Albert Goodmanson chases it down, kicks it out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in this time for the Calgary Boomers. Ryman takes it and throws it all the way back to Victor Cadelia. And what's the infraction here as Jan Goossens picks it up?
I believe it was a foul throw called against the Calgary team.
Well, that's a break for the Edmonton Drillers. And exactly for those of us who don't, or those who don't know the rule on the throw-in, Brian, what is it?
Well, basically what happens is when you're taking a foul throw, or when you're taking a free throw from the actual sidelines, you have to keep both feet on the ground. The ball has to go from behind your head forward. If you lift one foot or both feet, the linesman will flag you down and the ball will come back and the actual throw-in reverts to the other team.
There's a lot of technique that goes into the throw-in, and some players shift the hands around the ball and behind the ball a little bit to maybe get that one extra push off the one hand, the strong hand. That, of course, is illegal. It's supposed to be done accurately with both hands, but it's the kind of play that there's a little bit of leeway there where a player can use it to his advantage. The ball goes out of touch there off a Driller player, and it'll be a free kick for the Boomers. That's Kremers playing it in for Molina. The give and go back to Kremers. Goodmanson working on him. Kramer still has it, trying to chase it down. Fortunately, Eddie Kirshner is there to just kick it out of touch, and it looked to me, Brian, as if Kirshner would have had an opportunity to perhaps play that ball.
It seemed as though he could have maybe moved wide with the ball, then cleared it down the field long rather than putting it outside for a throw-in.
There's Gerber with a behind-the-back scissor kick, and snatched out of the air by Pertti Elia. And the Edmonton Drillers will now have an opportunity to move the ball upfield. Pertti Elia, Driller starting goalie, going into this game with a 2.48 goals against average, which according to league stats today is good enough for 20th overall in the NASL. And that 7-0 game in Seattle certainly didn't help Pertti's fortunes.
There's no question about that. All the teams, actually Edmonton right now, there's only 3 teams in the entire NASL who have conceded more goals than Edmonton.
Here's Huskabee. He gets those throw-ins right into the area. Headed onto the chest of Molina. Juan Carlos Molina streaking up into midfield. Trying to get a ball off over to Ryman, but it's picked up by Mike Sweeney and knocked back to Pertti Elia. And in the second half of action, we are again playing score with Safeway. Our contestant in this 15-minute segment is D. Brent of Edmonton. And if the Edmonton Drillers score, D. Brent will receive a $50 voucher from Safeway. The Boomers trying to get something going now. They trail 1-0. Jan Goossens with the game's only goal. It came in the 20th minute. A lovely effort by the Driller striker, who has, without doubt, been their best player up front so far this season, Jan Goossens. His 5th goal of the year. Here come the Drillers, or the Boomers. That's Stosavljevic working against Huskabee. Stosavljevic goes wide. Huskabee does a nice job there to get it away. He comes back to Royber. Royber with it again, trying to work something with Kremers. They get a ball in for Molina, back to Kremers. Decides to go wide for Cadelia. Cadelia on that left side, in for Gerber. Ball gets away from him a little bit. He gets a nice ball into the penalty area, but John Webb is there to head it out of danger. The Boomers still working it. There's Gerber. Sliding tackle by John Webb, and the official calls a foul there.
That was a late call again by the official. You can catch this again. You can see where the centre forward, number 9, Franz Gerber's got the ball. John Webb comes out quickly to make the tackle. The play goes on for a couple of seconds, and then again the referee comes in with a late call and gives a free kick to the Calgary Boomers team.
Live from Calgary, the Drillers and the Boomers.
His largest selection of quality lighting fixtures is available from the House of Light. If you're a home builder, home owner, or just interested in lighting, then discover the moods that can be created by simple lighting. Track lighting can introduce a totally new dimension to your home. Highlight individual areas or create a complete dramatic environment with a decorative flair. See other examples of beautiful lighting techniques at the House of Light, 102nd Avenue at 106th Street. It's worth a special trip.
Clear goal is a Calgary Boomer, and that has tied the score here, 1-1 in the early stages of the second half, and that changes the face of this match totally, Brian.
Well, it does, because in the first eight minutes of this half, actually, what has happened is Calgary have taken the game to Edmonton. We've mentioned at the end of the first 45 minutes.
And there's a ball that went into the net, but it was called offside before the shot was taken. That won't be a goal. It'll be a free kick for the Edmonton Drillers just in front of the penalty area. Peter Nogley kicks it upfield.
The actual official time on that goal, Randy, was 50 minutes and 46 seconds. The goal being scored by number 9, Franz Gerber. The assists going to Willie Ryman and to number 8, Jürgen Royber.
And the Boomers on the attack again. There's a ball in for Gerber. He gets a foot on it, but it goes wide of the net. The Calgary Boomers have got something going here now, Brian.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question at all. We can catch this right now. There's number 5 just there making a nice ball through Helmut Kremers. Feeds it through to Franz Gerber. Tries a first-time shot. Just puts the ball wide.
Well, we've been waiting for this sort of thing to happen for the Calgary Boomers. They've got some classy players out there in the field. People like Gerber, Royber, And they don't come for nothing, and they're expected to perform. And so far in the second half, they've really shown us some things. Here come the Boomers again at midfield. That's Kramers. Runs over the ball. Plays it back to Kadelia. Molina gets it up for Royber. Tries to play a one-touch back to Molina. Royber still with it. Little holding going on there by Drew Ferguson. Ty Huskabee takes a shot that hits Royber. I think Drew Ferguson is going to draw a card here, Brian.
I think he is also, Randy. Okay, you can see where Royber's trying to come through the ball. There's a wild kick by Drew Ferguson initially. That's what he's getting the yellow card for. He then maintains contact with Royber. Eventually, he trips him and he falls to the ground. Drew Ferguson being shown the yellow card by the referee.
Drew Ferguson took a couple of whacks at his ankles there, showing a little frustration, no doubt, after Calgary tied this up. That's the third caution we've seen in the game so far.
Well, it's the old saying, Randy, if you don't succeed the first time, try again. He had 3 goes at him there.
Drew, certainly one of those players who's not afraid to get involved physically when he has to. Calgary now on the free kick. Zimmerman passes off to Kramers. It's whistled down, though, before Kramers gets the shot away. And obviously a problem with the way the Edmonton Drillers were set up there, and the official blew it down, so they'll have a go at it again.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Randy. What had happened there is the Drillers were not 10 yards away from the ball, and the free kick was taken quickly, and the referee just called it back and said, you wait until I tell you to go. They were not 10 yards away, and would have that kick taken again.
Here come the Boomers again on the free kick. Zimmerman teeing it up, shot. Bertie Elia gets a hand on it, whistle down again there. But this time the call goes against the Calgary Boomers, and it'll be Edmonton free kick. I'm not sure what that call was, Brian.
I think what that was in the actual wall, one of the Calgary players was holding off for one of the Edmonton players. What they do, Randy, they'll put a man in the actual Edmonton wall, and then the man who's taking the free kick, he'll aim the actual ball for the man on his team, at which time that man will move out of the way and let the ball go through. And obviously what had happened there is the referee had caught the man pushing off on one of the Edmonton players, and he called the infraction.
If we can equate it to the game of hockey, somewhat of a screen play where you use one of your opponents to obstruct the goalie's view.
Exactly.
Here come the Boomers again. This is Christensen with a free ball into the area for Gerber. Gerber tries to get away from Bernie James. This is Molina with it. Over into the corner. Mike Sweeney is there, takes it off the chest. Boomers calling for a handball there. But the referee lets the play go on. Now there's a call, a pushing infraction against the Boomer player. And that Boomer player is very frustrated. That's Kramers.
I think what he'd been called for actually was a handball, and I didn't see him actually handle the ball. The referee again did not seem to be in a position to make the call on that play. Regardless, he did, and he gave the free kick to Edmonton.
Bob Fusco from Roxborough, Quebec, the official here tonight. And there's a ball that goes out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in for the Edmonton Drillers on the Calgary half of the field. Ty Huskabee, our halftime guest, and had some interesting comments about his play in recent games. Played a fine game against the Portland Timber, as did a number of players, Jan Goossens, and I thought Ross Ongaro came off the bench and performed admirably.
Yeah, I thought basically Jan Goossens had his best game of the year against Portland, and 2 other players that were very impressive, Mike Sweeney, John Webb had a good game, Drew Ferguson, as you mentioned, Ross Ongaro in that second half came on, and he gave them another dimension because he did a lot of running, and he helped in defense, and he was a very important part of that victory for Edmonton.
Jan Goossens taking the corner kick now. Gets it into the area. A head gets on it. Out to John Webb. Mike Sweeney has to back up, plays it badly off Molina. The Calgary Boomers have a chance to get something going. Molina now, he has to outrun Raduca. Molina streaking along that left side. Raduca staying with him, though. Molina gets the ball into the area. Bertie Elia bobbles it. Oh, a ball that Bertie Elia should have had easily, and it somehow got off his hands, and Gerber nearly had an opportunity to wrap in a rebound.
That was very close. That could have been very like Jan Goossens played in the first half, where it was a gift situation given to him.
Drillers come back. It's up for Eddie Kirshner. Drops it back for Peter Nogley. Peter Nogley now breaking into the middle. A ball in for Ferguson. Takes it off the left foot. Plays it up for somebody on that wing. Nobody running there, though. Ferguson looking for Joe Raduca to make an overlapping run, but he just wasn't there. And a ball that goes out of touch, and they throw it over to Jurgen Stars, who will have the goal throw. And it goes up to Molina. And Calgary have possession once again. A little mix-up in communication again there between Drew Ferguson and Joe Raduca. There's the ball played up for Gerber. Takes it nicely off the chest. And a flag goes up. And that'll be an infraction against Bernie James, Brian.
No, I don't see that neither. Basically, both of them were running with the ball. He's calling Bernie James for leaning on Transcairn. It wasn't a foul. The linesman called that, not the referee. The referee has got to basically follow his linesman, so he blew the whistle and called a free kick against Edmonton.
Mr. Fusco has had a busy whistle here in this game so far. 20 fouls in the first half, a couple of cautions. And we've had a yellow card in the second half here, and now another free kick for the Calgary Boomers. That's Willie Ryman teeing it up. Kai Huskeby still arguing. The official says he's not far enough back. Now they move the ball back out of the area a little bit. Huskeby doesn't want to move back. He inches back a little bit there and then moves back up again. There's the free kick. It's going for the far post. Joe Raduca has to head it over the back line, and now it'll be a corner kick for the Calgary Boomers.
Well, that was a good play by Joe Raduca, because basically he doesn't know who's behind him. It's a safety situation. You take no chances and just get rid of that ball and basically reassemble your defense and try and get the ball cleared from this corner kick.
Willie Ryman teeing it up on that far corner for the Boomers. To the top of the area, Peter Nogley does a nice job to head it back into the midfield. The Boomers still have it, though. Fidelia very nearly has it go off Jan Goossens and perhaps into a dangerous position for Calgary, but the Boomers recover. This is Kramer's now. A neat back pass for Gerber. Eddie Kirshner gets a head on it, but plays it badly over the right to Zimmerman. Zimmerman goes around Kirshner, then dishes off to Christensen. Christensen still with it into Molina. Goes heavily off his knees and onto the Driller player. There's some good effort by Cadelia to keep the ball in, but it goes out of touch. Throw in Drillers. Kai Huskeby will take it. Eddie Kirshner struggling again tonight, Brian, and he has certainly been the biggest disappointment for the Drillers so far this season.
No question. He's having his troubles. You can obviously see this. He's toiling in this game. He's not enjoying the game, and he's never become a factor in the game at all.
Here's Peter Nogley. Plays a long ball up for Goossens. Goossens has it, gets a head on it, but it goes right to Jurgen Stars before Drew Ferguson can catch up to it. Stars plays it right up to Gerber at midfield. Gerber now trying to outdo Bernie James, and he's tripped up, and the official says play on. He says that Bernie James went for the ball, play on, and that was a good call there, I believe.
Oh, it's a good tackle. Bernie James got the ball. Actually, he didn't go for it. He got the ball, and it was a good save and tackle by Bernie James.
Here come the Drillers again. This is Huskeby. Look at Royber. Fans sure don't like what Mr. Fosco is calling now. It's the way it goes, though. Some go for you and some against you. Here's Goodmanson now. Huskeby at the top of the corner there. Tries to play it into the middle. Goes off a Calgary player right to Nogley. Nogley takes a few steps. Looked like he was going to wind up, but it was neatly taken off his foot by Molina. Tries to play that long ball in for Willie Ryman. There's an infraction called, and I believe it's going to be against Ryman, obstructing on John Webb.
Oh, no question. They were running side by side. Ryman puts both arms around John Webb, tried to pull him back, and the referee caught that cleanly.
The Calgary Boomers sure like to play those long, quick balls up to the forwards and try and get the actually one-on-one or possibly breakaway situations. Molina with a cross in. That'll be offside. Headed out of danger by Raduca. He kicks it back upfield to Huskeby. Slips it past Cadelia to Kirshner. Into the midfield for Mike Sweeney. He neatly drops it back. Just over 30 minutes to go here in the second half. The score 1-1. Jan Goossens with the goal for the Edmonton Drillers in the first half. And Franz Gerber scoring for the Boomers early in the second half to tie it up. Royber for Calgary. Knocked down by John Webb. Brings it back into the midfield area. Drew Ferguson plays it up for Bernie James. Bernie James tries to get a ball in for Kai Huskeby. Just went a little too far and was intercepted.
What's happening now, Andy? You're getting some of our players, they're not running with the ball or towards the ball. You're finding a lot of them are running away from the ball. These balls that, you know, are 50-50 situations, they don't seem to be basically going for them. They seem to be letting the ball run free. The Calgary players are picking the ball up, and they've maintained a lot more possession of the actual play in the second half so far.
There's Calgary with it again. There's a ball on the left side for Victor Cadelia. Plays it into the area. Peter Nogley takes it off his chest. Calgary don't seem to be, at this point, Brian, too methodical in their attack. They're not taking the time to set anything up. They seem to be just playing the long ball and hoping for a break.
Well, they're playing some long balls, but they're switching it around a lot. They're coming through fast as well from midfield. Their game has been quickened up an awful lot since the first half, and it's now starting to cause the Edmonton defense some problems.
Here's Goodmanson, winds up, gets the shot away. Oh, and Jurgen Stars has a little trouble with it. But he bats it away. It was going for that top corner, and it'll go across the back line for a corner kick, and a good shot by Albert Goodmanson.
Yeah, oh, that was a cracking shot by Albert Goodmanson right now. Again, you can see him coming in here. He must be all of probably 28 yards out, 30 yards out. Lets the ball go. It's labelled for the top corner there, and a good save by Jurgen Stars.
Here's the corner kick. Sweeney, they get the head on it. Oh, and it goes right to Jurgen Stars. Luckily, right into his arms. The head came off the Calgary player, Krimmers, and right into Jurgen Stars' arms. There's the ball played up for Gerber. The Drillers are able to break that up, though. Peter Nogley now tries to get something going. Crosses the 35. Tries to play a ball in for Huskabee. Huskabee was not expecting it and was going the wrong way, and Calgary get possession back. Brian, there's been a little controversy in the past couple of days, and I guess it's all part of rivalries. Rudy Schiffer, the general manager of the Boomers, throwing a few barbs back at Joe Petroni and comparing amounts of money spent to acquire players, and the Boomers claiming that they've purchased more wisely and that they have a better selection of international players. And Peter Pocklington even jumping in to say that the Edmonton Drillers maybe shouldn't be spending that much money on international players anymore. What's your comment on it?
Well, basically, I have to agree. Well, we'll go back to this in a few moments after this commercial break.
This NASL game is coming to you from Calgary. Back to the live action at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. It's 1-1 here with just over 26 minutes to go in the second half. Brian, we were talking about that situation with acquiring players.
Well, you know, basically, my thought is I come from the old country. I'm a little bit prejudiced, but we have a good crop of North American players. People like Joe Petroni have done a good job recruiting. I think that probably, as a group, we have the best bunch of North American players possibly in the league. They've got to be complemented by good European players. And there was an article written by Cam Cole in the Edmonton Journal yesterday, and basically I agree with him. You've got to have some star players on this team. I think that what we're missing right now is we're missing a real good, strong midfield player, and we're missing a prolific goal scorer.
Well, there's no question, Brian, that it's going to be some time before you can use a full complement of North Americans in this league. It's just a fact of life that the caliber of soccer in this continent hasn't risen to the level that it is overseas. Back to the live action now. The Drillers, Albert Goodmanson has the play broken up on him by Molina. The Boomers coming back. There's the ball in for Gerber, or rather for Christensen. He can't run it down, though. And Ferdy Elias scoops it up and throws it off on the right side to Bernie James.
That's a good play by Joe Duca, because Joe Duca forced Christensen to run wide, and in running wide, the actual flow of the ball was taken away from him, and it basically became an easy save for Ferdy Elias.
That one goes out of touch off the Driller player, Jan Goossens. A little shoving going on there between he and Benny Vaughn. Vaughn takes it back at his 35-yard line, plays it across, and then it's played back to Jurgen Stars. 1-1 the score here at McMahon Stadium. And the ball played up along the side for number 15 of the Boomers, Stoy Slavovich. But it goes out of touch, and here's a throw in for Kai Huskabee. Kirshner tries to get a foot on it. There's Kirshner working against one man. Kirshner moving in. Oh, and he loses control inside the penalty area. It's Zimmerman with it now. It'll go out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in for the Edmonton Drillers. There's a nice ball played in for Goossens. Jurgen Stars comes out to bat it away. Huskabee alertly plays it over on the other side. There's the header. Oh, what a save by Jurgen Stars as he gets back to that corner to snatch the ball away. And what a header by Peter Nogley. A good chance there for the Drillers to go ahead 2-1, Brian.
That was a real nice play by Peter Nogley. He came in on the blind side of Jurgen Stars. Initially, Jurgen Stars was out of position, and Huskabee hit that ball long to the far side of the actual goal. Peter Nogley made a good jump. A good clean header. It was labelled for the goal, and Jurgen Stars had just recovered, got back into position, and the ball just simply fell into his hands.
So a good chance for the Drillers there. Here's the ball in for Molina. It's Molina and Bertie. Molina takes the shot. Oh! Bernie James comes in to make the save, and oh, boy, Brian, what a heart stopper there.
Oh, that was another great play. We're seeing some real good plays right now. It's just unbelievable.
This is your Lethbridge Brewery telecast. Back to the live action, and we're seeing some end-to-end play here at McMahon Stadium. The Boomers with a good chance, and then the Drillers come right back and have a good opportunity. And now it's Calgary on the rush again. That's Jorgen Christensen on the left side. Gets a ball into the area. John Webb heads it out of there. Drew Ferguson goes up to play it ahead. Molina again with it. He's tripped up there by Peter Nogley. The play goes on. Kremers chips it in for Molina. Bernie James with a wild kick there, and that'll cost him. There's a foul against James, and it'll be a free kick for the Boomers.
A little bit too physical on Bernie James' part there, and the referee called him right away.
And on the free kick. Oh, that one just went over a couple of heads. It looks like it's going to go all the way out of touch. And it went off the Driller head, so it'll be a throw-in for the Boomers. Zimmerman passes off to Stojsavovich. Here comes Eddie Kirshner now. Alertly plays it over on that right side. He's got two men there, but the one Boomer, Cadelia, knocks it back and breaks up an opportunity for a 2-on-1 by the Drillers.
Well, that's what I was talking about before, Andy. You could see it was a three-man ball, that, and basically the two Edmonton players just stopped going for it, and they allowed Cadelia to come in and just maintain possession.
And a reminder of our next televised game here on CFRN Driller Soccer. It'll be June 19th from Anaheim, California, when the Drillers will visit the California Surf, and we will be there live to provide all the action. There's a ball played in for Gerber, but it's headed back out by John Webb. Eddie Kirshner goes up for it, but misplays it. Here comes Molina again. He's shown some good ability to create chances. There's a good cross into the area. Picked up there by Christensen. Turns around. On the outside flag comes up. And it'll be a free kick for the Edmonton Drillers. Molina showing some crafty movement in the midfield, Brian, creating some good chances.
And Molina's played a good second half. He wasn't a great factor in the game in the first 45 minutes, but he's really on top of his game right now. He's doing a lot of running. He's finding open space. He's had some opportunities to score.
Molina led the Boomers team indoors in scoring with 63 points and has caught on here on the outdoor side, and so far shown some good ability here in this game against the Edmonton Drillers. Here comes Drew Ferguson dishing off for Raduca. Plays the ball into the box. Head on it there by the Boomer player, Vaughn, and it goes over to number 15, Stojsavovich. That's Royber with it. Decides to pass back. Royber again. A ball into the middle for Zimmerman. Zimmerman stumbles. Oh, and it looks, Brian, like he's pulled his hamstring. Zimmerman is stumbling there. He's gone down onto the turf now, and he may have pulled a hamstring on the artificial turf there. The play continues, however. The Drillers with it. This is Eddie Kirshner. Broken up, and the Boomers will just kick it back into the midfield area. The referee finally calls the play, and there's Zimmerman down on both knees, and I think, Brian, he's pulled the ham or the muscle on the back of his leg. Live from McMahon Stadium, Edmonton Driller Soccer. That's Garrett Zimmerman of the Calgary Boomers being assisted by the Boomers trainer, and Zimmerman went along the artificial turf there and seems to have pulled a muscle, and we have a Boomer player getting ready to come on. That's Tony Heap, number 20 for the Calgary Boomers, and he's going to be forced into a midfield position to replace Garrett Zimmerman.
Right, but make some adjustments right now. Tony Heath actually did play in the last game, and in talking to the Calgary coaching staff, they were very pleased with how he has been performing during his past game. So it shouldn't make that much of a difference in the actual Calgary team, and probably will give them some fresh legs.
Tony Heap was a starter in the Boomers' last game against the San Jose Earthquakes, which they won 1-0. But with Kremers coming back into the lineup today after his suspension, Al Miller had to make some room for Kremers to get him in, so Tony Heap was the casualty there. But now he's back in, replacing Garrett Zimmerman, who is off with a muscle pull in the back of his leg. Here comes Calgary again now. This is Stojsavljevic with the ball, playing it up for Royber. Royber trying to get it into the goal area, but it's headed out of there. Eddie Kirshner gets 2 whacks at it, plays it up for Huskabee. Huskabee has it go off the side of his foot, not a touch, and it'll be a throw-in for the Calgary Boomers. That's Tony Heap. Plays it back to his defender. Back over on the other side for Kadelia. Boomers slowing it down here a little bit now. Heap over for Stojsavljevic. Royber playing it back into the middle. Long cross for Kadelia. Takes it nicely on the left foot. Keeps it in play. Kadelia with the ball. Chips it in. There's a try by the Boomer player. Bernie James comes in to knock it away. And there'll be a foul there called on the Calgary Boomer player. And our attendance at McMahon Stadium here tonight, 10,388. And that's pretty well the average for the Calgary Boomers here at home at McMahon Stadium this season. And certainly encouraging attendance for their first year in the league, Brian.
Well, when you think, Brennan, that they've only won 1 game at home so far this season, and they're still getting between 10 and 12,000 people out, it has to basically, you know, be a good sign for the management and owners of the club that once they get a winning combination going, they're going to get some good other fans coming out to see this team.
Here's a chance for the Drillers in the goal area. It's neatly tackled out of there by Royber. Kirshner still has it. Gingerly plays it back for John Webb. He crosses all the way over onto the other side for Goodmanson. Goodmanson tries to get a hard shot away, and that one knocks the Boomer player right over. Goes back into the area. There's Kirshner. There's the shot. Oh, a good save by Jurgen Stars. And that's the first goal-scoring opportunity that Eddie Kirshner has had all night. He got that left-footed shot of his away, and Stars came up with the save.
And it was a great effort as well, Randy. It was basically a long cross from Albert Goodmanson, and you can see it right now. Actually, it's Drew Ferguson makes the cross, not Albert Goodmanson. It beats the defenders completely. Eddie Kirshner catches it on the full volley low. Jurgen Stars just makes a partial save. It's eventually cleared by the defender, Denny Vaughan.
And I think, Brian, by moving Eddie Kirshner back into midfield tonight, they wanted to get him in a position where he could get those balls with his head toward the goal. He often, in a forward role, has to take the ball with his back to the goal, turn around, then shoot. This situation, he can shoot right away.
Well, he's predominantly one-footed, and basically you put him in a goal-mouth situation where you've got a bunch of players. They can adapt to his situation and play him, you know, onto his right foot. Doing that, they can basically maintain possession of the ball from him quite easily. If you leave him deep, whereby he's got room to move, Eddie Kirshner can hit the ball really well with his left foot. So you give him shots from 20 yards out, give him some room to move in, he could become dangerous.
1-1 the score here at McMahon Stadium. Jan Guden scoring for the Drillers in the first half, and Franz Gerber scoring in the second half for the Calgary Boomers. There's Royber playing a ball over for Kadelia on the sideline, headed out by Joe Raduca, and it's a throw in Calgary.
Raduca's played a strong game for Edmonton. He's covered his man very well, and he's been very instrumental in a lot of key defensive plays and breaking up a lot of the actual Calgary players coming forward.
This is Stojsavljevic across the line, looking for that shot, and it goes away wide of Perdi Alaya. Goal kick for the Edmonton Drillers. You're watching Driller Soccer on CFRN. Back at McMahon Stadium, as the Edmonton Drillers have possession of the ball now. That's Ross Ongaro with it. He's come in as a substitution, Brian. And I believe he's come in for Eddie Kirshner. Ross Ongaro, much like the game in Edmonton against the Portland Timber, where Ongaro came in to replace Kirshner after just the first half. Now, Timo Liakoski has decided to wait a little longer. Nonetheless, Ungaro is in there for Eddie Kirshner. And Ungaro would likely be playing up in a forward position, would he not, Brian? Going with a 4-3-3 situation now.
Well, no, I think they'll stick with a 4-4-2, but I think what they're going to be doing is obviously Ross can run all day for you. He's just a young player. He's very keen. He's very fit, and I think what you'll find, although they want him as a striker, you'll find that Ross will cover a lot of the field, coming back and helping defensively also. It's a 1-1 game. The next goal is very, very important, Randy, obviously.
That's Webb with the ball at midfield. Goosens gets it off to Ungaro, or Nogli rather. Nogli slowing it down, trying to find the pass. There's Jan Goosens. He was tripped up there by the Boomer player, but the official says play on. Goosens at the back line, working against Kremers. Drew Ferguson takes it. Dipsy doodling along the sideline there. It finally goes out of touch, and it'll be a throw-in. Ross Ungaro, the first-round draft pick of the Edmonton Drillers last year, had an injury problem during the indoor year that hampered his start outdoors. But as we mentioned, played a fine game against Portland, and he is a prospect of the future for Timo Liakoski, one of those North Americans with promise that we were talking about earlier.
That's right. And in that case there, we have a natural offside call against Ross Ungaro.
And no luck for Mrs. N. Westland in our Score with Safeway contest. Mrs. D. Letch will have our last chance this evening to win a $50 gift voucher from the folks at Safeway. If you'd like to enter, just drop us a line at Score with Safeway, Box 3333, Station E, Edmonton, postal code T5P4C2. There's a foul called against the Driller player Peter Nogli against Gerber, and it'll be a free kick for the Boomers just inside the 35-yard line.
It's interesting the way the actual game has kind of switched around again, because in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Edmonton have come back into the game a little more than they had been initially, and they seem to have taken over the control of the flow of the game. So it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that right now.
There's a long ball played into the Drillers area. Perry Elias snatches that out of the air, kicks it long upfield for Jan Goosens. He's virtually alone there. Goosens with the ball, gets it down. Goosens still with it, and he overruns it. Kremers is working on him there. Goosens with an opportunity to do something there, but the ball just didn't bounce the right way, and there we see some of the problems with artificial turf in taking that ball off the surface.
Well, again, it was a bouncing ball. It wasn't one that died. It kind of just hits the artificial surface. It bounces up an awful lot more than it would do on natural grass. Jan Goosens has played a good game. He's been down there by himself for most of the game so far, and he's done an awful lot of running, and he's tried very hard. He's had some bad luck in the way the ball's been bouncing for him. He scored that one beautiful goal. He could have had that second. He should have had that second. Didn't go for him, but you can't question his contribution to the game so far.
CFRN Television will again be presenting Family Night at the Drillers this year. Friday, June the 12th, we'll be giving fun packs away to the first 7,500 spectators, and they're filled with valuable coupons, plus chances to win numerous prizes. That's Family Night at the Drillers game, brought to you by CFRN. That'll be Friday, June 12th, against the Calgary Boomers at Commonwealth Stadium. That's Royber intercepting a ball initiated by Peter Nogli. The Boomers come back. That's Molina. Tries to play it in for Christensen. But it's broken up by the Drillers. Albert Goodmanson now. Goodmanson plays a ball off Cadelia's foot. And Kremers breaks that up. That's Heap. He's one of the two pairs of fresh legs out there. Heap the substitution for Calgary Boomers in this half, and Ross Ungaro coming on for the Edmonton Drillers. Ferguson gets it out of danger. He's knocked down there by Heap, and it'll be a free kick for Drew Ferguson and the Drillers. Bernie James takes it, plays it up along that wing for Albert Goodmanson. James makes an overlapping run along the right sideline. Going in deep. There it is to Ungaro. He tries to turn and get a shot away, but it's broken up there by the Boomer player. Here comes Royber. Leaves it for Ryman. And an infraction there called as Christensen goes down. That's against Peter Nogli, and it'll be another free kick for the Boomers.
Every time Christensen gets the ball, it seems as though he's fouled. He's received a bit of a knocking around in tonight's game. There's no question about that. And He hasn't become effective. Christensen's notorious for basically, if it's a physical game, you'll find that he'll disappear and you'll never see much of him. And that's what's happened in the game tonight.
I'm sure Peter Nogley must be in his glory tonight, Brian, playing with a lot of these players that he is familiar with back in Germany, and having spent time at Hamburg with Ryman and Eddie Kirchner, of course, played against some of these players in the second division. It must be an added bonus for players like Kirchner and Nogley to play against some of their old countrymates.
It'd be a great bonus if they win the game, Randy. I would imagine they wouldn't be too happy if they lost the game.
There's a long ball played into the midfield. Royber rushes to keep it in play, and he does. Stojslavovich heads it out, though, and it'll be a throw-in for the Edmonton Drillers. Mijan Stojslavovich, number 15 for the Calgary Boomers. A Yugoslavian native that calls Milwaukee, Wisconsin his home, and which qualifies him as a North American. With 8.5 minutes left to play, the score is Edmonton 1. Back at McMahon Stadium, it's 1-1 between the Boomers and the Drillers. This first ever outdoor game between these Alberta rivals, and so far we've seen the makings of what's bound to be a great rivalry in games and seasons to come. The ball deep in Calgary territory now, but they bring it out. It's brought back to Kremers. He chips it in for Royber. Try to work it over on that right side. Stojslavovich does a nice job to run it down and keep it in play. Gerber goes up with Webb. Webb goes down heavily on the artificial surface there. The ball is going against Gerber, and it'll be a free kick for the Drillers.
I think we have a sub coming on for Calgary right now. It looks as though Carlos Salguero is warming up.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. We are in for another substitution here, and it looks like it's Salguero coming in, and he's coming in for number 19, Christensen, Jorgen Christensen, playing on that left wing position. And Salguero will go in. Salguero saw action in the last game for the Calgary Boomers. He went and played that right spot, which is occupied by Ponce, who is not playing tonight. So again, Alan Miller is going with a player who saw action in a substitution role in their last game. Here come the Boomers. That's Gerber. Salguero was streaking down there to try and receive a pass, but it's broken up by Drillers. And an infraction called there. Looks like it'll be
offside against Goossens.
Offside against Jan Goossens, and it'll be a free kick for the Calgary Boomers. Ryman has it knocked out by Huskabee. Plays it up for Gerber. Takes it neatly, or rather that's Bates, or Heap rather. Number 20, Heap with it again. There's a cross in for Gerber. Mike Sweeney tries to trap it. And Heap gets possession again. Finally, Sweeney kicks it back to Perdialaya, but before that, a foul called against the Boomers, and it'll be a free kick for the Edmonton Drillers. Peter Nogley getting set for this long kick deep into the midfield area, as the Drillers would dearly like to get a goal here and finish this off in regulation time rather than go to overtime, where virtually anything can happen. Drew Ferguson plays a nice ball in on the wing for Raduca. Raduca full blast to try and meet it, but it goes over the touchline, and it'll be a goal kick for Jürgen Stars. But Joe Raduca is really showing some effort out there, Brian, going both ways.
Oh, he's ran all night. He's been very instrumental in the game defensively. Joe is not your classy type player. He's not a Peter Nogley. But when he's on the field, you get your full 90 minutes out of him. And tonight, there's no question he's been one of the key defenders.
Joe Raduca, also of Yugoslavian descent, and one of the few original Edmonton Drillers, I suppose, came over from the Oakland Stompers. Peter Pocklington moved the franchise from the Bay Area into Edmonton. And that'll be a throw-in for the Drillers. Austin Guerra taking it on the sideline. And he decides to leave it for Mike Sweeney. 4:45 to go in regulation play. And of course, if the game is tied after regulation, we will go into sudden death overtime, 2 7.5-minute halves. And following that, we would be in for a shootout, which incidentally neither of these teams has been involved in thus far this year. And the Edmonton Drillers, I don't know, based on last year, they might want to get into a shootout because they were so successful at it.
Well, they don't lose many at all. In fact, I don't believe that Timo Liakoski has lost an actual shootout so far.
Royber being watched there by Ross, or Jan Goossens rather. little pushing going on. Mike Sweeney tries to break free. And goes back to... There's Sweeney getting loose. And Garrow's there, the shot. Oh, good shot by Garrow. Sweeney takes a shot, and it goes high into the air. Jurgen Stars is forced to catch it over the touchline, and it'll be a corner kick for the Edmonton Drillers.
Well, that was just basically sheer persistence on the part of Mike Sweeney. You can see where basically what has happened here is Mike Sweeney has broken through. The ball has gone forward of him. Ross Ongaro comes in. A good left-footed shot, which was going into the net. Jurgen Stars makes the save, and then the defender clears the ball behind. A corner kick to the Edmonton team.
Jurgen Stars, who has been called upon to make a number of good saves in this game, and a situation there where it conceivably could have been a goal. There's the corner kick, and Stars comes off his line to aggressively grab that corner kick by Jan Goossens and nullify a chance for the Edmonton Drillers on the dead ball play there. The Boomers try and get something going again, but it's broken up at midfield, and Edmonton come back. Mike Sweeney decides to slow it down and let everybody get set up. Ernie James is going to go upfield as Kai Huskeby motions to one of his players. Up for Albert Goodmanson, gets a one-touch on it, goes into the area, but nobody was breaking in to get a foot on it, and it goes right back to Jurgen Stars. Approaching the 3-minute mark, left in the second half, 1-all to score. A goal in each half, the Drillers scoring. Jan Goossens in the 20th minute, and then Royber coming back to tie it up for the Calgary Boomers in the 50th minute. That's where it stands, 1-all. Peter Nogley with it at the 35. Up midfield for Garrow, looking for Albert Goodmanson. Little misplay there. Molina, or rather that's Salguero with it now. Boomers at midfield. Bremers. Salguero backs up. Working against Joe Raduca. Raduca stays with him, though. Royber. And for Heap. Heap going up against Goossens. Boomers forced to bring it back. Here comes Stojsavljevic. Stojsavljevic dishes off to Ryman. Ryman a ball into the area. That could be dangerous, but Cardialia gets a hand on it and bounces it off the turf and rolls it upfield for Ross Ongaro. Drew Ferguson goes over Cadelia there, and the referee says play on as Drew looks up from on the field and was looking for a call there. That's a ball intended for Ongaro, broken up by Royber. And still Ongaro on the sideline. He has his legs kicked out from under him by Drew Ferguson.
Right, that was a definite foul. I think Drew was just going back there and simply getting his own back for the foul before. You can see Salguero right there, cuts back into the middle of the park, and Drew Ferguson lifts the old left leg and sends him flying.
And the Boomers bring it back. 1:09 left to go in regulation, and it's looking more and more like overtime is going to be a possibility. Stojsavljevic now. Calgary trying to set it up one last time. Stojsavljevic plays to give it go to Gerber. In for Salguero. Salguero has to run it down. Oh, and he badly plays that ball, and it goes right over the net. He should have, I think he was trying to cross it into the area, but obviously went off his foot wrong.
Well, he was, and it was a bad play because actually he had time to stop the actual ball and then make a proper play. You can see him right now. He's all by himself. He could have stopped that ball, just stood there, picked a man out and crossed it then, but he was rushing too much and made a complete hash of the play.
Well, perhaps the last good chance here in regulation. We've just got 23 seconds to go here now. And it looks like we're going to be in for overtime. And again, it'll be 2 7.5-minute halves. First team to score walks off with an 8-point victory here, because whoever wins it is going to finish up with a 2-1 score. In overtime, however, if the winner does it in a shootout, there are no points awarded in the shootout this year, so it'll just be the basic 6 points. And there's regulation. The referee has signaled that that's the end of time, and we're going to go to sudden death overtime, which is always very exciting in the North American Soccer League. And Brian, your comment on the second half?
Well, it was kind of quieting down towards the latter stage of the second half. I think basically Calgary came out like gangbusters in the first 10, 15 minutes and dominated. Again, what happened then is Edmonton took control of the flow of the game for the middle 15 minutes, and in the last 15, it was really no one's game. Both teams were basically, I think, feeling the pinch. They were tired. Calgary stopped running. Edmonton kind of developed a defensive attitude, and you could see that if it was going to be a goal that was going to win the game, it was going to be a fluke goal or 1 in a million goal.
So with the score, Edmonton 1, Calgary 1. We'll return with overtime action in just a moment.
Hi, we come to do some work?
Sure. Oh, look, this is Al. Just got in from New Brunswick. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Alberta.
Look, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. This is terrific. Come on.
All right. Yeah, that's some machine.
We got it for a song. It was really a mess. You wouldn't believe it.
Want me to turn over for you?
Great, great. Listen to this.
Do you guys mind if I take a look?
Sure.
Try now. Al, guys, lunch. Al, you've earned yourself a welcome.
Great.
Pilsner, the great taste of Alberta. More Albertans drink Pill than any other beer.
Hey, you know, guys, this is my first pill. It won't be your last if you're staying. I'm staying.
Welcome to #1. Welcome to Pilsner.
Name's Bob Riley. Been a professional guide going on 30 years. Spent half my life fishing Old Horseshoe Lake. Fish bite here like no place else. So do the bugs. So I pack a pro, Deep Woods Off. 'Cause around here, black flies and mosquitoes got teeth like a chainsaw. But Deep Woods Off's tougher. It's 100% repellent. Take it from old Bob. Deep Woods Off works. It's made by pros, used by pros.
If you were aboard this Japan Airlines 747 Garden Jet, you'd be winging your way to bustling, scenic, ever-changing Hong Kong. And on your way, you'd be treated to the kind of service known only to JAL travelers. How much for all this? Far less than you might think. Call your travel agent for details of JAL Saver Apex fares. Then get ready for everything Hong Kong has to offer.
We are back live at McMahon Stadium in Calgary at the end of regulation play. And we are getting set for sudden death overtime in the North American Soccer League. And that's certainly an exciting prospect. And Brian, let's set up the way that the Calgary Boomers went about tying this thing up.
Okay, Randy. Basically, it was a somewhat lucky goal as it happened. The play had originated on the right side of their playing field, and the ball comes across. Initially, you can see an attempt to clear the ball. It bounces around again.
I believe that's the first goal of the game,
That's not the
Brian.
goal. That's the one that was actually disallowed for an infraction. That was not the actual goal. Here they go right now. Here's the goal right now. You can see it's Roiva. Lays the ball off. I believe it goes to Willie Ryman. He goes to the sideline. Pertialaya commits himself, leaves his goal area. He comes out. He gets caught in no man's land here. Ryman just chips the ball past him. Bernie James is watching Franz Gerber in the middle of the goal. Franz Gerber just gets a soft touch to the ball with his right foot. Peter Nobley runs back, but just can't recover the ball in time, and it just rolls over into the net. Gives him a 1-1 tie.
That came in the 50th minute, and there was no scoring after that, and that's why we are in sudden death overtime. And let's just clarify the way the scoring will go in overtime should the Drillers or the Boomers win.
Right, what happens if a team actually wins in overtime, Randy? They get the 6 points for the game, plus the, in this case, the 2 points for the actual bonus points for the goals scored. Actually, 1 point for the actual goal scored during regulation time. Then what happens if it goes to a shootout? They only get 4 points for winning the game, plus the actual goal that they scored in regulation time as well.
So the way it'll work is that whoever wins this, if they do so in overtime, it'll be a 7-point victory. If it's a shootout win, you just get 4 points. So obviously,
plus the goal, which would be a 5-point.
A 5-point victory. Obviously, you want to go for the win in overtime.
That's right, because obviously it's more points for you.
And we're getting set to start here. There's a look at Joe Raduca. And Brian, do you expect that we'll see any fresh legs here in the overtime?
Well, I don't know. Basically, both teams have made one substitution, as you know. It's possible that they might, but they've both been playing reasonably well. They're containing each other reasonably well. So I don't think that the coaches are going to attempt to disrupt the team by bringing on somebody else at this stage of the game. It's one goal right now, and then your game's over. It's a sudden death situation, so it's very important that you maintain some fluency in the play.
All right, then, here we go with sudden death overtime. The Calgary Boomers moving from the right of your screen to the left, and the Drillers moving from left to right. Here comes Calgary. A long ball played in there for Salguero. He's got it at the touchline, plays it right back into the legs of Drew Ferguson, and he plays it upfield for Ross Ungaro. The Boomers in possession in their own zone. That's 14 Vaughn with it, playing it over on that flank for Stojsavljevic. Boomers controlling at midfield. There's a long chip up for Kramers, headed out of the danger by Raduca. Kramers with it again. Makes a move on Raduca, gets it over to Salguero. Salguero tries to kick it into the area, goes off Mike Sweeney's legs and out. Calgary still have possession. First goal now will win it. Bernie James comes up, passes off to Kai Huskavy. Being watched by Salguero. Huskavy plays a long ball up for Bernie James, who was making an overlapping run into the Boomer goal area, but it was to no avail. That's Molina with it now. Makes a few nice moves, but Drew Ferguson gets in, plays it back to Perdi Elia. Peter Nogley. Pass for Goossens. He can't get a foot on it. It's broken up again there by the Boomers. Sweeney at the midfield stripe. Plays it on that right side for Nogley. Just gets there in time to keep it in play. Being watched by Cadelia. Nogley still with it. Cadelia gets back up to his feet. There's Sweeney. Tries to find a hole, but it goes right onto the foot of Kramers. The Drillers still with it. Drew Ferguson plays a ball intended for Huskavy. Jurgen Stars comes out of his goal to grab onto it and passes off onto that right side. Here come the Boomers. A nice play by Ryman to get the ball into his mate. Salguero comes rushing in, and Perdi Elia has to alertly come off his line to snatch that one up, and a good try on a breaking play there, Brian.
Well, that was a great recovery by John Webb. He simply beats Stojsavljevic for speed and played the ball back to Perdi Elia. Good hustle.
And we've played 3 minutes in sudden death overtime. 2 7.5-minute halves, separated by a short break. And if there's no score after that, we'll go to sudden death overtime. Or rather, shootout.
It's amazing the way when you're playing a sudden death situation, those 7.5 minutes seem to fly by. It seems like you've been playing for a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden you're turning it on and playing the second 7.5 minutes.
Molina tries to get going with Royber. Royber goes back. Likes to take his time in setting it up. Plays off to Danny Vaughn. Keep playing a long ball up for Molina. Molina gets it into Salguero, takes it off the foot. Oh, and a nice sliding tackle there by Joe Raduca. Goes out of touch, but a good play by Raduca to break it up. Throw into Kramers. Plays it over for Royber. Calgary had possession. No really good scoring chances so far in the overtime, but they have controlled at least in the Driller zone. Here comes Edmonton. Bernie James plays the ball up on his left side. And there's a ball by Jan Goossens that goes off. It looked like the Calgary player initially, Brian.
No, I think he just mishit the ball completely. It went behind for a goal kick. I think Jan might be feeling the effects of playing 90 minutes at full steam. He's done an awful lot of running down in the Calgary end of the park, and he could be tired right now.
Well, certainly he's been one of their standouts here tonight, along with several others, including Joe Raduca. There's a ball played in for Gerber. Drew Ferguson comes running in to try and get it away, but Gerber keeps possession. Sweeney tries to get a foot on it. Molina's shot goes off the referee's chest, and that breaks up the play, and The Drillers quickly take advantage as Peter Nogley has the ball. That's Huskabee now crossing the line. Huskabee still with it. Going deep into that corner. Gets it out in front. Nobody there, though, except Gedalia. He kicks it all the way out. And it'll go out of touch, and Drew Ferguson will throw it into Goodmanson. Ferguson tries to play it past Gedalia, but it goes off him and back out of touch. That's Nogley. Kicked out of there by Kramers. Drillers not having much success getting this play initiated. They throw the ball in, and Calgary immediately kick it back out of touch. This time Kai Huskabee will try one of his patented long throw-ins, and he takes a couple of yards run at it. There's the long throw-in. There's the header. Oh, it goes off the crossbar. Oh, what an opportunity for the Edmonton Drillers. The header went right off the crossbar.
Peter Nogley again, I believe it was. If we can catch this right now, it was a long throw-in, and basically you can see it right now coming in. I believe it was Peter Nogley again who jumps. There you can catch it off the crossbar, beats Jagan Stars completely. He thought it had gone in and forth. You can see Peter Nogley jumping up there, acknowledging the goal. Just came back off the crossbar, and then there was a pushing infraction against one of the Edmonton forwards and a free kick given to Calgary.
And that's where we see the value of that long throw-in by Huskabee. It virtually accomplishes the same thing as a corner kick, only more so in that he has the accuracy there.
Plus, of course, you've got to give credit to Peter Nogley because although he's a tall player, there are other players who get in his way, but he just did a perfect job of timing his jump. He met the ball at the top of his jump, got good power behind the header, beat the goalkeeper completely, and just rattled the crossbar.
Well, without doubt, the best chance in this overtime period is still 1-1. Going to come back. This is Goodmanson, approaching the 35, plays it in for Ongaro, but it goes over his head. Jurgen Stars. He plays it up to Royber. We have a minute to go now in the first half of this overtime. Royber motioning, tries to play it in for Salguero. He has to run it down right to the back line, and it'll go out of touch. A throw-in for the Calgary Boomers.
Again, Joe Duca in good position on Salguero, giving him no chance to get set up and make a good play. Gets rid of the ball for a throw-in. Gives the Edmonton players enough time to come back, regroup, and get their defenses formed.
Salguero came on as a substitution in the second half for one of the forwards of the Calgary Boomers, Christensen. He was an Argentinian first division player. He also saw indoor action for the Boomers this year. Salguero did. There's the throw in, and it's an infraction called there by the official, and it looks like they may have been calling it on the throw in again.
I believe they have, Randy. I think they've called a foul throw.
So it's Drillers' ball. The clock winding down, 12, 11, 10 seconds to go here in the first overtime half. And I think Perry Elia is very well aware of that. He will just be satisfied to hang on to the ball and kick it deep into center field. And we will have a second overtime half. And it is still scoreless. Brian, a few spurts shown on both sides there, and only one good scoring chance, really, the header by Peter Nogley.
Right, again, what they're doing is, you know, you've got to be ever so careful. It's a fact. I mean, basically, the next goal wins the game. You've got no chance to recover from a mistake. Whoever scores wins the game, gets the points, and away they go. So it's going to be a play such as the one that we saw Nogley attempt, where it was a good play, a good throw-in, a good effort by Nogley, hit the crossbar, came out.
Let's look at Garrett Zimmerman over on the Calgary Boomer bench. He's shaking his head there, and he went off earlier in the second half, complaining of an injury, and he was holding the back of his leg. Brian, here's a look at the Drillers' chance on the Peter Nogley hit the corner.
Right, you can see again, it's a long throw-in by Huskabee. Taken. Gets good distance, real good distance. The ball is there somewhere. There we go, comes down. There goes Peter Nogley now. You see him meeting the ball very cleanly. Good direction. He beats Jagan Stars completely. Jagan Stars is just out of position. He's going the wrong way and hits the crossbar and comes away.
We're back to the live action now in the second overtime here at McMahon Stadium. It's 1-all, and the Calgary Boomers are on the rush. That's Gerber with the ball, playing across in for Molina gets a head on it, but it goes high, and Perty Elia is able to grab onto it. Peter Nogley now working against Royber. Nogley has to sidetrack across field. Leaves it for Goodmanson. He has to get away from Molina. He's hounding him. Huskabee with it now. There's a long ball along the sideline for Rossingero, or rather for Jan Goossens, and it goes out of touch. Throw in. Oh, it looks like it was an infraction called there against one of the Driller players, Jan Goossens, and it's a free kick for the Boomers. Kremer's playing it up along that side for Gedalia. Back in for Juan Carlos Molina. Boomers trying to set it up here. Stojsavljevic on the right side, plays it in for Salguero. Back for Stojsavljevic. Gets a ball into the area, but it is stopped there by John Webb, and the Drillers come back up. Again, if it is still tied after overtime, we will go to a shootout. Something neither of these teams has been involved in before, this season at least. Jurgen Stars has to come way out, nearly to the top of the penalty area to grab that one away, but Kai Huskabee was dangerously lurking around that area, and Jurgens makes a nice play to get possession of the ball. Heap with the long cross on that side for Gedalia. Plays it in for Royber. Peter Nogley's there to break it up. Keeps in play, but it goes back to Gedalia. Molina. Neatly passed back to Kremer's. Kremer's moving in. Kai Huskabee now coming along that left side. Charging upfield. Looking for a play to develop. That's Goossens. Tries to play the give and go with Huskabee. Broken up by Calgary, and here come the Boomers. Molina. Dishing off to Vaughn. Calgary playing a little control ball here at midfield. They decide to go over to that other side for Gedalia. That's Heap. Back into midfield. Royber plays the ball in for Gerber. He's got Bernie James with it. Gerber, the shot, they score! Just a beautiful goal down here. There's absolutely no question about that. Franz Gerber scores for the Calgary Boomers in the second overtime, and they defeat the Edmonton Drillers.
Okay, you can see the ball right now. There's Gerber coming through. Hits the ball just beautifully. Just before it was to bounce onto the ground again. Bernie James was in hot pursuit of him, and it beat basically Perty Elia quite cleanly. There's Perty. Perty's got the angle covered quite well. You can see the shot right there. Just Perty seems to miss the ball completely over his arms and into the net. Just a really a nice goal.
Well, elated Calgary Boomer team and the fans, all 10,000 of them at McMahon Stadium, are on their feet as Franz Gerber scores both goals in this game for the Boomers, including the winner in overtime. And so the final score is Calgary 2, Edmonton 1. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where we have just witnessed sudden death overtime. Franz Gerber, the West German striker, scored both goals here tonight and gave the Calgary Boomers a 2-1 overtime victory over the Edmonton Drillers. And Brian, what an incredible goal the winning one was.
Well, we mentioned that it was going to take a real great goal to win this game, and you can see right now where the ball is sped into the Edmonton penalty area. There's Gerber. He just catches that ball before it hits the ground again, gets good weight behind the tip, and it beats Perty Elia over his outstretched hands into the roof of the net, and it was just a beautiful goal. It was well taken. It could possibly have been saved, but it was a good hard shot, and you can't really fault Perty Elia totally on the play.
Gerber with both the goals for the Calgary Boomers, his first two in a Calgary uniform. Tonight's Lethbridge Brewery Driller Player of the Game, as selected by the media here in Calgary, was Jan Goossens. He scored the Drillers' only goal. That came in the 20th minute of the game. So the Edmonton Drillers continue to lose on the road. They have now dropped 6 away from Commonwealth Stadium, and it certainly has turned into quite a jinx for them away from home.
Well, there's no question. I would think that probably Coach Leo Costi must have been feeling confident about this game because there was only a few minutes to go. He's very good at the shootouts. We know that from past history, and I thought that probably he was thinking we